माझं सोनिया गांधी व्हायचं. कागद इकडे तिकडे जाऊन म्हणलं म्हटलं माझं सोनिया गांधी व्हायचं. चालू आहे. कस काय? हॅलो, गुड मॉर्निंग. बबन इंगले सर बोलताय ना? नाही नाही सर, मी तन्वीर बोलतोय. नाही, आवाज तुमचा प्रॉपर येत नाही सर. तुमचा आवाज फार लो येतोय सर. काय म्हणले सर? एक मिनिट सर, एक मिनिट. नाही सर, तुमचा आवाज लो येतोय खूप आणि एक म्युझिकचा आवाज येतोय. हा सर, तुमचा आवाज प्रॉपर येत नाहीये, काहीतरी एक म्युझिक मध्ये येते. हो सर. हा सर, तुमचा आवाज प्रॉपर येत नाहीये, कारण की तिथं काय होतंय सर, एक म्युझिक वाजते, कोणतं तरी गाणं वाजते, क्लिअर येत नाही. ठीक आहे, मी एकदा काय करतोय सर, मी रणखाम सरांशी बोलतो, कोर्सची. येस 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 सर, येस सर. ओके ओके सर. हा आवाज येतोय, फक्त फार लो आवाज येतोय आपला. हॅलो 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 हॅलो, अतुल. हा हॅलो अतुल.
हा सर.
हॅलो, आवाज येतोय ना माझा क्लिअर?
हो येतो येतो.
बबन इंगोले सर आता जॉईन झाले होते, त्यांचा आवाज प्रॉपर होत नव्हता बघा. मी आता बोललोय त्यांना. हा आता बोललोय, अनम्यूट करून डबल ए करा. ठीक आहे,
बरोबर, चालतंय.
हो.
येस सर, अनम्यूट करा सर तुम्ही. हा येस सर. आवाज कमी येतो सर. येस सर, येस सर, येस. नाही सर, कमी येतो आवाज. ते हे जे आपलं हे आहे ना सर, हेडफोन आहे ना तो काढा बरं सर. नाही अनप्लग करा सर त्याला. हॅलो सर.
हा, त्यांचा जो आवाज आहे ना ते त्यांच्या हेडफोन मुळे एखाद्या वेळेस कमी जास्त होऊ शकतो.
हो हो.
त्याला दुसरा एखादा हेडफोन असेल मोबाईलचा वापरा म्हणा.
हा ठीक.
त्याला फोन कर दादा, त्यांना फोन करा की तुम्ही मोबाईलचा वापरा म्हणा, लगेच फोन करा.
हो सर, हो सर, हो सर.
नाही लाईव्ह केलं ना एकदम.
हा ठीक.
लाईव्ह थांबवता येतं थांबवा.
हॅलो हॅलो.
हा येस सर, येस सर, येस सर.
येतो का आवाज?
हा येतो सर, येतो.
आता येतो व्यवस्थित?
येस सर, येस सर.
ओके. पिन जरा रॉंग हे केली होती मी.
हा येस सर.
हा हा, आय एम सॉरी. हा हा. अतुल कुमार सर. हॅलो.
येस सर, येस सर. गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
गुड मॉर्निंग. किती लोक जॉईन झालेत आणि काय एक्सपेक्टेड आहे?
39. आता 40 जण झाले सर. आता होत आहेत. एक्सपेक्टेड असं आहे की जे आपले बेसिक सायन्स मध्ये जे काही रिसर्च होत आहेत आतापर्यंत, म्हणजे इनोव्हेशन वगैरे झालेलं आहे ते, आणि ओशनोग्राफी मध्ये काय काय संधी आहे, म्हणजे मरीन रिसर्च मध्ये किंवा आणखी त्या फील्डमध्ये बायोलॉजिकल सायन्स रिलेटेड ते अपेक्षित आहे सर. म्हणजे रिसर्च फील्ड किंवा बाहेर फॉरेन कंट्रीज मध्ये काय संधी आहेत, भारतामध्ये आणखी डायव्हर्सिटीवर किती अभ्यास झाला आणि किती गरज आहे, तर हे अपेक्षित आहे सर.
हो.
येस सर.
मोस्टली महाराष्ट्रातलेच आहेत का बाहेरचे पण आहेत काही?
बाहेरचे सुद्धा आहे सर.
असं का?
हो सर.
हा, बरेचसे बाहेरचे.
अच्छा. कारण की व्हॉट आय वॉज थिंकिंग वेदर टू माझ्या याच्या बद्दल जर सांगायचं झालं तर वेदर आय शुड रेस्ट्रिक्ट टू ओनली मराठी इंग्लिश और ओनली इंग्लिश. दॅट इज व्हॉट आय वॉज.
ओनली इन इंग्लिश.
But sir, some Marathi also help.
Participants from other states.
But student also join sir. BSc student and MSc student.
म्हणून त्यासाठीच म्हटलं मी.
Yes sir, yes sir. दोन्ही पण थोडं.
From that point only I was, just.
Yes sir.
इंगोले सर.
बोला.
तन्वीर बोलतोय.
हा बोला.
विद्यार्थी. सर यू कॅन गो इन इंग्लिश, कारण की काही आहेत बाहेरचे सुद्धा आहेत, इंग्लिश मध्ये राहिले तर आपण रेकॉर्डिंग करतो, युजफुल फॉर द नॅक ऑल्सो.
बर. काय कर तुम्ही, व्हॉट एव्हर यू विल से सर. टुडे आय एम ओनली गेस्ट.
गेस्ट आहे आणि गुरु आहात सर आपण, असं थोडी सर. गुरु पहिल्यांदा नंतर गेस्ट.
हा सर खरंच आधी
ऍब्सोल्युटली तुम्ही कोणी, आय डोंट नो हाऊ मेनी ऑफ यू हॅव had an opportunity to listen me, but then I will try
listen,
to.
sir. When I was in MRL.
मला तर लॅब मध्येच भेटलात ना सर.
हो. नाही तेच म्हटलं की सगळ्यांना अपॉर्च्युनिटी नसेल, पण ज्यांनी कोणी ऐकलं असेल. मला थोडासा जरा गळ्याचा त्रास होत आहे आणि ऍक्च्युअली हे मी कमिट केलं जर नसतं तर आय वुड हॅव नॉट इव्हन कॅन्सल केलं असतं खरं म्हणजे. पण आता मी म्हटलं नाही,
ठीक आहे सर, तुम्ही तुमच्या पद्धतीने.
थोडा आता मिसेसला म्हटलं मला एक काढ्याचा ग्लास आणून दे, जशी गरज पडली तशी घ्यावं लागेल. त्यासाठी मी आज ऑफिसला पण गेलो नाही सर, आणि कालही गेलो नव्हतं. गळ्यामुळेच थोडस जरा फिवरिश झालं होतं काल. काय झालं, काल 3-4 दिवस मी संध्याकाळी, आमच्या इथे एकदम वातावरण चेंज झाले. तुमच्याकडे थंडी आहे, आमच्याकडे थंडी तशी पडत नाही. 4-5 दिवसापासून एकदम थंडी आहे. आणि इव्हिनिंगला मी आणि मिसेस आहे 5-6 किलोमीटर अप अँड डाऊन 3-4 दिवस कंटिन्युअस गेलो. तर ते एक्सपोजर झालं थोडस.
एकनाथ जोशी सर पण जॉईन झालेले आहेत. सरांचं वेलकम.
गुड.
अतुल.
हा येस सर.
मला वाटतं आता आपण हळूहळू सुरू करायला पाहिजे.
हो सर. सर पण जॉईन झाले, टेमकर सर पण जॉईन झालेले. गुड मॉर्निंग सर. प्रिन्सिपल टेमकर सर, तसेच सातपुते सर.
नमस्कार चोरपगार सर.
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार. पुन्हा संधी दिली सर तुम्ही.
तुमचे प्रयत्न आहेत सगळे ते.
नाही सर, नाही. तुमचं सहकार्य आहे सर. टेमकर सर, तुम्ही, तुपे सर.
हा सरच म्हणलं सर, म्हणजे खाली टाकण्यापेक्षा टाक.
So till now there are 50% participants are there. So with permission of the chair, I think we should start, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Pagar sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, Rahul, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
मी काय म्हणतो, एक 8 तास थोडा हळू कर, नंतर आणि महत्वाचं.
रणखाम सर.
हा सर बोला ना.
येस सर, आपण सुरू करायचं.
हा मला तेच वाटू लागलं आपण स्टार्ट करायला पाहिजे.
येस सर,
स्टार्ट करा.
Atul sir,
Yes, sir.
can you please stop the screen sharing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
Yes, sir. With the permission of the chair, can I start, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good morning, all of you. As we know that today we are facing the pandemic of COVID-19, but nowadays there are more in the science field or the whatever the in medical field also there are more research happened so that we overcome this situation also. But nowadays from this pandemic we gather through the online to share our views in different platform, so that we from the Department of Zoology, Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce, Science College, Shirur, Dada Patil Razade Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar, Taluka Pathredi, District Ahmednagar, and late Ramesh Varpudkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbani, has decided to organize the national conference on innovations in basic sciences for sustainable development under the MOU between Department of Zoology. Sir, I would like to share that this is a second opportunity for us to organize such an event to discuss the various aspects in the science field. So first of all, I welcome today's chief guest and inaugurator, Professor Dr. Baban Ingule sir, who is a visiting scientist and Professor Hydrothermal Studies, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, Headland, Sada Vasco da Gama, Goa. I welcome sir. Also, I welcome the two speakers. First speaker is Dr. Meghanath Ganesh Joshi sir, who is Associate Professor, Department of Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicines, D.Y. Patil, Dean University, Kolhapur. Second speaker, Dr. Dhanaji Zavde, who is postdoctoral scientist, University of Paris, France. On behalf of convener, I welcome to all of you. Also, I welcome Principal Dr. S.K. Tupe sir, Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirur Kasar, District Bed. Dr. Rajdhar Temkar sir, Principal Dada Patil Razade Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar, Taluka Pathredi, District Ahmednagar. And V.D. Satpute sir, Principal late Ramesh Varpudkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbani. I welcome sir. Also, I welcome convener Dr. Tanvir Pathan sir and Dr. Santosh Rankham sir. And I request to chair the session. I request Dr. S.K. Tupe sir to chair the session of the inaugural session. I request Dr. S.K. Tupe sir to chair this session.
Okay, sir.
Yes. And also I request Dr. Rajdhar Temkar sir to chair the plenary session first, and Dr. V.D. Satpute sir to chair the plenary session second. First of all, as earlier I discussed, that is for this celebration, we celebrate the 75 years of independence. That is a Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and also the year of 2020 as the International Year of basic sciences for sustainable development, which has cited the high value of humankind of the basic sciences and noted that enhance global awareness of and increase education in the basic sciences is vital to attain sustainable development and also to improve the quality of life for people all over the world, which is approved by the United Nations General Assembly in 2022. So that we also celebrating this year as an international year of basic sciences. So that we people decided to organize this national level conference for innovation in basic sciences for sustainable development. I welcome all the dignitaries on the screen and off the screen, also all participants, students, research scholar for this auspicious gathering of the science field or the basic science. First of all, I request the convener of the conference, Dr. Tanveer Pathan, Head Department of Zoology, Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, to give the initial remark and introduction to all of the guests. Dr. Tanveer Pathan.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to one and all. First of all, on the behalf of Organizing Committee of National Conference on Innovation in Basic Science for the Sustainable Development, organized under MOU between Department of Zoology, Kalika Devi Arts, Science and Commerce College, Shirur Kasar, District Beed, affiliated to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. Department of Zoology, later Ramesh Warpolkar, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Sonpet, District Parbhani, affiliated to Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded, and Department of Zoology, Dada Patil Rajwe, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar, Taluka Pathadi, District Ahmednagar, affiliated to Savitribai Phule University. We would like to welcome all the guests or delegates participants for this national event. Dear friends, as we all aware that the United Nations General Assembly has unanimously approved a resolution proclaiming 2022 as the International Year for the Basic Science for Sustainable Development. In declaring the International Year of Basic Science for Sustainable Development 2022, United Nations General Assembly cited that high value for the humankind of basic sciences and noted the global awareness and increased education in the basic science is vital for attaining the sustainable development and to improve the quality of life for people all over the world. With this, I would like to extend my sense of gratitude to distinguished guests. Please allow me to express my sincere appreciation to Professor Dr. Baban Ingole sir, visiting scientist and Professor Hydrothermal Study, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Ministry of Earth, Government of India. Dr. Meghnad Joshi sir, Associate Professor, Department of Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicine, D.Y. Patil University, Kolhapur, and Dr. Dhanaji Zavre sir, Postdoctorate Scientist, University of Paris, France, for joining this national event. I welcome all of you and hope that today's event will serve as a catalyst for strengthening the national cooperation on transfer of innovative expertise. Today, nearly we have about 100 participants joining this webinar, and participants come together here to discuss on innovation in basic science for sustainable development. I hope that we will able to conclude certain agenda in this webinar. I am sure that we will have fruitful and rewarding exchange in this webinar. I wish you every success with this important webinar. I look forward to learning outcome of the webinar. Before I take my leave of you, I would like to remind you and especially our moderator to stick to our time schedule, not let any session overrun. I sincerely hope you will enjoy enjoyed today's debate and networking. Thank you for your participation. Thank you once again. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Tanur Padan sir, for the initial remark about the today's conference and why we are going to organize this conference. Thank you once again. Now I request Dr. S.K. Tupe sir, the chairperson of this inaugural session, Principal Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirur District Bid, to give the welcome address.
Okay,
Dr.
sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Good morning to all the honorable personalities, researchers, and delegates. It's our pleasure to organize the second event regarding with the Department of Zoology of different colleges, that is National Conference on Innovations in Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development. Under the Memorandum of Understanding between the Departments of Zoology of the Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirur Kasar, District Bid, which is affiliated to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. Next, that is late Suresh Varpudkar, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbhani, which is affiliated to Swami Ramananda Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded, and Dada Patil Razale Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar, Taluka Pathradi, District Ahmednagar, affiliated to Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune. Under the Memorandum of Understanding, these colleges always organize the various kinds of programs such as guest lectures. This is, I think, the second conference regarding or under this memorandum. Under the guidance of Principal Dr. R.T. Temkar, Dr. V.D. Satpute, as well the foresight vision of Honorable Jayadatta Kshirsagar, who is the former Minister and Secretary of Other Shikshan Sanstha, BID, as well the Radale Kakaji and the Varpudkarji. In this conference, I like to welcome today's chief guest, Professor Dr. Baban Ingole, another personality who is going to deliver his speech on stem cell and regeneration medicines for humans. Dr. Dhanaji Taule will deliver his lecture on carbon nanotubes, metal nanohybrids, polyoxymetals for sustainable development and its application for organic treatments. Now, as per the norms of United Nations, there is need to face the various diseases such as we are going to facing the one disease that is COVID-19. Near about, I think, last or since last 2 years, we are facing regarding with this disease. And such a diseases are always changing their viruses changes their structures and come into new generations. In this, at first we had found that the virus that is COVID-19 and then I think Delta virus, and now the third generation of this, that is the Omicron. Such diseases, when we want to find against the diseases, for this there is need to there should be the research in basic sciences, that may be life science, that may be physical science, mathematics, chemical sciences. These should be coordinately comes together, and basic research is very important. And for this, our departments of our colleges are always try to organize such conferences and try to gather all the researchers, intellectual person and the scientists as well as the students together and discuss on this or such a pandemic conditions or the various events regarding with the research. And that's why the worldwide fight against the COVID-19 pandemic is rooted in basic sciences, decoding the viral genome, modeling the dynamic of the pandemic, or testing treatments and vaccinations wouldn't have been possible without a long-term alliance between life sciences, chemical sciences, physical sciences, and mathematics. The aim of the conference is to bring together the scholars and students, administrators from different countries and discuss technical and practical issues regarding with such a conditions, and we are going to face all these things which are always harmful to the world, and such a researches are, I think, which are convenient for the human development, as well as which are helpful for the development of such a vaccinations and number of things. When there is the basic research is strong, at that time applied research may be again, there may be opportunities to face against the number of diseases, but need is that you should be concentrate on the basic research, and basic research is very important. So our departments, our colleges are always going to organize such kinds of conferences, workshop, webinars, and I think we had got the full of response of the delegates, as well as the lecturers, as well as the scientists, and every part of the society. So I hope today's conference will be uh, successful, and all the participant delegates and scholars, I like to welcome you again. And for this conference, the head of department of our college, Dr. Tanvir Pathan, and as well the head of department, Dr. Santosh Rankham, and head of department of Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya, Pathardi, Atul Chorpagar sir, they have took the lot of efforts and always try to give somewhat new to all and all the delegates and participants. So I am always promoting them for their work, and I hope this conference will be give you something new, and it will be helpful to all the delegates as well as the society. Again, welcome to everyone, and thank you once again.
Thank you, Principal Dr. S.K. Tupe sir, for welcoming all the delegates which are present on the screen and of the screens also. I very much thankful to you. Now I request our convener, Dr. Santosh Rankham sir, Head Department of Zoology, late Varpurkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet District, Bid, to introduce today's chief guest and inaugurator, Dr. Baban Ingole sir. Dr. Santosh Rankham.
Good morning, all of you. First of all, I would like to welcome each one of you. I feel great proud to say that this national conference has been organized by Departments of Zoology, late Ramesh Varpurkar, Dada Patil Rajale College, Adinath Nagar, Pathardi, under the MOU. I am profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce today's chief guest and inaugurator of this conference, Dr. Baban S. Ingole, who is a visiting scientist and a professor, Hydrothermal Studies, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Ministry of Earth Science, Government of India, Headland, Sada Vasco da Gama, Goa. He completed his PhD from Mumbai University in Applied Zoology. He published research in 5 universities, and under his guidance, 40 students awarded with PhD degree. He worked as a chief scientist in CSIR, NIO, National Goa. He has awarded by 13 national and international awards. He is a member of various central and state government expert committees. He has teaching experience in many universities. He visited 30 to 35 countries across the world. He involved in major international projects. He granted 3 patents. So, without consuming any time, I would like to request our today's chief guest, Dr. Ingole sir, guide us. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Santosh Rankam, sir, for introducing today's inaugurator, Honorable Professor Dr. Baban Ingole, sir. Now I request today's chief guest and inaugurator of this one-day national conference, Professor Dr. Baban Ingole, sir, to share his view.
Namaskar and good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank the principal of all 3 colleges, Dr. Tupe sir, Dr. Temkar sir, Dr. Satpute sir, for inviting me as a chief guest for this function. I am honored to be part of this conference. Basically, there are 2 things. One is I personally belong to the Marathwada region, and therefore it is always pleasure to talk to a student, researchers and professionals from the region. You feel like you're not physically connected, but now in the present era we are virtually connected. And if you talk to our own people, that is why in the beginning, before the conference, I just was discussing with Sir Atul Kumar sir, should I talk in English or should I talk in Marathi English? Or basically because I wanted to be connected with the people and nothing
Yes,
like
yes.
that. If there are some people who have been to in different other countries, you don't know how you feel it if you meet somebody who is talking to your own language in other country.
Yes, sir.
It gives so much pleasure talking to you, and that is what I was anyway, I will try to be as much as in English, so no problem. Maybe Marathi sometimes when I get chance to come to your college, either in Shirur or even in Pathardi. I often come to Ahmednagar, Pune and that area, or even for that matter, if it is possible, to the Sonpet. When as and when it's possible, I would like to be physically present and talk to the student. That is what I like to do it most, because I am coming from a very small village, and it's always give you a lot of pleasure talking to the village student, because their expectation of a scientist is something else, and we have to bring to them at the reality what science is, and where they can also a part of it. They can contribute where is very much possible. So we need to encourage, I feel it, as much as from our point of view, and contribute to the society if you can. Now, as far as this conference is concerned, I definitely would like to thank all the conveners, Atul Kumar sir, Khan sir, Rankham sir, for I'm not certainly over this thing, but I really like the idea of coming 3 of you together and putting this conference together, because this always very interesting. But 3 different places, and we have the medium available now online, so why not make it, instead of duplicating the things, get the people together on the platform, and platform is available. I can see almost like over 65 people are, attending this thing. So a good opportunity, and make use of the opportunity. Now, when we talk about the today's conference and the theme, as we all know, that innovation in basic sciences, and for what? Sustainable development, because that sustainable development is United Nations a theme given for another at least 10 years. We need to look at it. What are those sustainable development goals? Why this sustainable development is coming? I thought from my perspective I am talking about, or my understanding I am talking about it. We all know that today our country and globally also, everybody globally is facing lot of problems. Now, does it mean these problems were not there 2 years back? Many of the problems were definitely there 2 years back, before the pandemic. However, some of those problems are either increased, exaggerated, or some of those problems are partly sidelined due to the pandemic, because pandemic is a central point today about the and why it is central point. You talk about sustainable, but pandemic is above that sustainable, because pandemic is survival and death. So if you survive, then only you talk about the sustainable development. However, if you look at it as a country, and we as a educated class of people need to talk also that people, certainly majority people around the globe, like the idea of India. And why? I'm not of any political affiliation, and therefore I'm talking about the fact. I'm a scientist. If you talk about sustainable development, then you have to be realistic. And what is that realistic? Because I would like to talk some of the challenges today to you, so that I can give some questions to the researchers. And also, but before that, we also need to talk about sustainability. When we say sustainability, if you look at it, some of the you presently attending, I'm not sure how many of they are there above 60-65 years who are attending, but those people know the India of 50s and 60s. I was a young boy during that time, and India of those time 60s, I'm not talking about 70s, 60s, 50% or more Indians were sleeping either with one meal or hungry. That was the 60s, 50s India, whether you like it or not, that was. And today, last 2 years, India is feeding 80 crore and odd. Its population, 2 years, they are feeding it freely. That is what is the development. That's what I said, that this is what people outside India are appreciating. No politics, nothing about it. This is a fact. Now, why it is possible in roughly around 50 years? Because of the development. There is no doubt about it that the Green Revolution and subsequent different type of reforms have set up in 50 years the situation that the present dispensation could distribute the free food to the 80 crore and odd population. It is not one day job. It has gone through 50, 60 years of development. Was it sustainable or not? That we should have debate and discussion. But it has raised to that point that today we are, as an Indian, producing a surplus food which can be distributed freely to its population. And that is what is the development. However, please believe me. Again, I'm just reminding it. Please believe me because I'm working. Sustainability, my friends, doesn't come freely. Or the development, development doesn't come freely. Development has got the price tag. And that price tag means you have to sacrifice something. When we say about sacrifice something, there are different type of things have involved in this. And one is largely we have sacrificed a lot of forest land for the development of the agriculture. It has gone there. There's no doubt about it. We have sacrificed a lot of coastal lands for the industrial development. We have sacrificed a lot of productive land for big cities development. So those are some of the things which I'm talking, but there are many other things. In the process of this development of distributing food to 80 crore of population, I'm giving that figure because that is what the figure has been released roughly by the government. It need not to be 80, it can be more also, it can be, but roughly that is what, and why it is almost more 70% of the population. That is what it is there. That means we are producing it, then only it is possible. Otherwise it is not possible. This is one example. Second example, in 1 year of time, India has not only given the free vaccine to other developing countries, but have been able to vaccinate single, double, or three vaccinate almost more than 70% of the population. That comes, my friend, maybe half the Europe. If you look at it, from where it has come, it has not happened in just 5 or 10 years. It is the process of industrial development, pharmaceutical development, where a successive dispensations have put up the efforts to come to that stage where we can take care of not only the food, but also the health as and when challenges arise. So that is what is the development for me, because food and health are the central point of human development. And development has to be human-centric. It has to be human-centric, because otherwise for what we are doing it? Human beings are selfish. There is no doubt about it. On the earth, we all are, majority of us, we are the zoologists. And when we talk about the animals, among the animals or among the living organisms, plants and animal, bacteria are also a part of it, but I'm just talking about a major this thing. Plant and animals. Animal are more aggressive. Among the animals, human being is the race which is very selfish. There's no doubt about it. I will think only about my village, my district, my state, and if you come down, my family, and then only myself. Afterward, family. First is myself. So that is how the human beings are there. Nothing wrong in that also, because survival of the fittest is the law of the survivability. If you are fittest, you will be able to survive, and then you will be able to take care of others. That also is fine about it. But when it comes to survival of others, then you have to look at it. The others means your ecology and environment also is part of that. And when we talk about sustainable development, that is what is the environment surrounding you. And we need to take care of that environment. And over a period of time, although globally lot of development has been taken place, I gave an example of India, how India in the last 60, 70 years have reached from where to where. There are a lot of other examples, but why I choose to give this example, because it has today a very important direct link, it is there. And I thought I will give you that example. But when we talk about the challenges, today there is a bloom in population growth. This is a challenge, no doubt about it. Population is increasing globally. And when there is a pandemic like this, then managing this both from health and food is not an easy thing. Every government globally had tough time this last 2 years dealing with the situations. Whether you have money in your bank or you don't have the money. Resources cannot be purchased with the money. That is what pandemic has shown it very clearly. Even if you have money, you can't go where you want to go because there's no availability of the access. It has shown it. Whatever the reach you are, you cannot go. Whatever the reach you are, you cannot have it because there are limitations. So therefore, what is more important is the living the simplest life. Probably coming back to the 50, 60 years, this is what pandemic has shown it. A human being can survive, although we are so selfish with the limited resources. And if that is the case, can we give the greed of more and more, having more and more? Can we give it up? That is the challenge. When I was saying about the challenge, that is a challenge to do it and think about it. And as a life science student, we have to come out, social science student, come out with the new research finding. Yes, we can definitely sustain. We can sustain with the limited resources in much better way. What is that you have lost in last 2 years? Definitely one thing I feel I have lost it is our social connect. But it is only the physical connect we have lost. The technology has given us the access that I am accessible to you. And globally we are accessible. So you have to say, take it positive of this. 2 years back, we never thought that we will be talking like this and we will be discussing the issues of like this. Every time, how much resources was practically wasted on such type of conferences. I am witness of this. I used to always talk it very openly, whether you like it or not. This is the best thing. Look, getting together is fine. We spend a lot of money in marriages. Whoever can afford that, only fellow can, spend. Na? Poor farmer will not be able to, feed the entire village. So he will feed only one family, one member, depending upon his availability. But that social gathering has got a lot of meaning of social structure. And that is what I was just saying, where we have to look at it, the positive things. Now, everybody will be thinking as and when possible, let's go online for the conference because we don't have that much money available. And time, 1 day conference, that's what I said, that 3 of you came together. How much resources you have saved, you could, very well. That is the sustainability. Your output will be much better than what it would have been if it is a physical conference. I will challenge you, you show me. That will be much better than your physical conference, 3 colleges together, 1 day. How much, achievement? What is if you talk in terms of economics, if somebody is there, what is the loss and gain? You should be looking at it. That is what the sustainability for me is. Okay. Coming to again, I thought expectation from me is certainly something else. So I don't want to divert more on, theoretical things. Let us talk something about zoology, so that it is related to the, the topic what we are supposed to discuss it. Today, if you look at it, the, some of the challenges what we have it, and people always talk about after and next to increase human population, they talk about increased global warming. I'm sure everybody of us, we are also of that opinion that global warming is a challenge today for the globe, for the world. And some people even talk about it. The today's pandemic, again, I want to, be clear, leave the politics and the rest of the thing aside. As a scientist, people are also talking that is this pandemic a part of that global warming? Is a question mark. Forget about whether somebody has cultured it, somebody has released it, or somebody has, by accidentally happened. We don't know. We don't have any proof. And even for global warming, there is no proof. But there are signs of increasing temperature, increasing pollution level, and increasing effect of that on the life. That is what I mean. There are ample of signatures, evidences available for that. And if that is there, if temperature is increasing, if pollution is increasing, both in air and water and soil, does it give chances for mutation? Yes, it does give the chances for more chances for mutations. And that is what is happening. Again, as a scientist, we have to look at it. As a science student, we have to look at it. I already made it very clear. Globally, if you look at it, there are roughly around 10 million organisms, particularly in terms of animal, 10 million living animal species in the global ocean. Why I said global ocean? Because that is my specialization and I have, more authority to talk on that. So I will be very happy because comfortable, that is my subject. And everybody want to do the batting in home ground. That is the fact, because you can definitely score a century there. If you look at it, globally, 10 million animal species in the global ocean, which covers almost 70% of the Earth's surface. However, today we know it only roughly around 15% of that. So what we know roughly is not even 10 lakh of species. Okay. Fact is, physically collected and using today's technology, that we have geotagging is from where exactly it has been collected. So physically collected samples, geotagging, and identified using your molecular tools, what we have available today. We should be looking at that. Probably not even the 10% of that known, we have it today. I'm talking again on the marine aspect. So you can see it. How about, and look at the changes happening globally on the world ocean. Roughly, if you look at it, every day we are discovering hundreds of new species. That is the rate of discovery. we are discovering hundreds of new marine species globally. It may not be 100, less than that. I know exact number also, but I'm just giving an, a theoretical this thing. However, we are losing 5 times that what we are discovering. That is what I wanted to tell you, the impact, what is happening. So we are losing more than what we are discovering, and yet we know it only about the 10 to 15% of this life. Challenge is what, when and how we can know about that rest of the 85% of those living, because those are the 85, some of them may have answer to some of the problems like pandemic, but they are lying in the deep sea, very deep, somewhere around 3 to 5 kilometers in water depth, which is called the deep sea. That is where I am working today. I will talk a little bit about that also. No doubt about it. But there are different other things what I wanted to tell you when we talk about the challenges today what we are facing. And there is one thing which we were discussing about sustainable development. And from the zoologist point of view, I thought I will, talk a little bit about the one of the sustainable development goal, and that is water, life below the water. Why I choose to talk about it, again, as I told you that is my playground. Okay. Also, if you look at it, the government of India's future development plan, okay, as a zoologist, what you and me can contribute to make the success of government future plan. We all have to contribute. We all are taxpayer and we all get the salary. So it is our duty, okay, no obligation. It is our duty to play an active and constructive role in the country's development. Not generally as every citizen has got, but we have got more, pressure, because one is we are educated, we are government servant, and we are the taxpayer because our own money is also involved into that. And therefore, there is one challenge which India is facing today. I thought I'll just talk a little bit about it before I conclude it, because if I want, I can talk full day. That is, there is no doubt about it, because I am also a professor in 5 different universities, and I have been teaching for last 30 years. I like teaching very much. There is no, you can last 20-30 minutes what I have been talking, you can understand it. One of the challenge I was, talking about, about the food. Although government of India, my first, sentence I started with is that we should appreciate government of India. In last 2 years, have been distributing free food for 80 crore population. My friend, today India is considered to be fastest developing economy in the world. So leave it at feeding. Okay, we have to look at ourselves as a partner with those economic power. That is what is being looked. And when we look at the partner of economic powers, we have to compare India with 1-to-1. And when we want to compare India 1-to-1, we lack in one of the major component in that is, although we are feeding the population, but when you talk about the health statistic and health aspect, दाल रोटी से काम नहीं चलता बाबा. दाल रोटी तो चल रहा है, Your health is not going to help only with the dal roti, but you required healthy food. And when we talk about healthy food, India, the parameters, 70% of Indian population are not getting required, minimum required protein in their thali, everyday thali. 70% population are not getting that the required protein in their daily thali. That is why what is their population is being fed, but they don't have nutritious food. When you talk about the developed countries, those top 5, you have to talk about this and you have to address this problem. Otherwise, रिजर्व बैंक में तो पैसा होगा बाबा, वो किसान के खाते में नहीं होगा तो क्या करने का उसको? Isn't it? You will have surplus food available, but that is, if it is rotten, it is a useless. It should be available to the the poorest of the poor. And same way, when we talk about the protein production in India, protein production in different way in India, we don't have sufficient protein production. Let me talk about it very clearly. Of course, there is a problem of distribution. And as a zoologist, I feel that we have to bring a revolution in terms of, see, Indians are, very good in talking that India is a country where we are vegetarian population. Look at the population who eats eggs and chicken every day. They are much more than the actual vegetarian, because we are hypocritical. We talk something, we do something else. This is a fact, and accept that. Today, dal is 120 rupees kg, chicken is 150 rupees kg, a fish is 100 rupees kg. So where is your protein available? And what cost it is available? Can we make that dal 50 rupees? No, it is not possible, because farmers cannot produce. I belong to farmers family, I know it. You cannot produce it because your production cost itself is 70, 80 rupees. It cannot be, you cannot bring it down. Whatever you give the free fertilizer, whatever you give free, you cannot give free labor, and labor cost is today very high. So what is the next when you want to meet that sustainable goal, particularly for India, is, as a zoologist and coming to the aquatic zoologist, is we have to bring a revolution like poultry farming in India in the form of aquaculture. And we have huge marine as well as freshwater aquaculture potentials in this country. And that can be easily bring it into this node, where we can develop local hatcheries at local level. Each farmer I know in Marathwada region very well, and it is across the India. In Maharashtra, it's very high, no doubt about it. But in other parts, every farmer is given free money for digging the well and making the shattale. Every farmer is given. You approach it, it may take time, but there is a potential that you will get it, either one or maybe both if you are lucky. And if you have free water available for a couple of months or year around, you can easily store the fish seed into that one. Where our fish seeds are available through Department of Fisheries. I am sure it is not easily available, but we can bring it. We can discuss about this and bring it. What is important is providing the seed and providing the market, providing the processing, and that can be bring out your dairy example is that, poultry example is like that. It is a perishable, no doubt is, it is a perishable atom, and therefore you have to develop the change. But most important is you have the land, you have the water available there, and you have to bring out the simple technology. There are examples where we can, and when you bring out that protein in form of dal, which is, or ghee, which is 300 to 600 rupees kg, butter, because that is the protein what we talk about it. So you have to bring a protein which is easily accessible and available to the each and every Indian. And here it is, what the potential is there. With the agriculture, both agriculture and fisheries can be equally developed with less input, with very less input, and the technology is very much available within the India. So I would like to, end on that point, that here is a positive sign of development where you can agriculture and fishery in the form of aquaculture can go hand in hand, and we can achieve the requirement of the protein deficiency which is there in India. Definitely in days to come, it can be addressed. Government of India has very correctly recognized the separate need for the fisheries ministry, because till last year, fisheries was piggyback on agriculture. So whatever money goes, it was going to agriculture. Kuch bach gaya to fisheries ko de do yaar, nahi to jaane do. That is not, the fisheries is going to play a major role in the future, and therefore it has to be recognized separately. I've been talking on lot of national forum on that. One aspect I would like to end here is we all have very productive land around the coast and also in interior India. Now development is fine. It is big cities are developing. You need a land, and agriculture land is being converted, or productive land is being converted into, the real estate where there are housing is needed. But वो house को क्या करोगे, फिर तुमको खाना ही नहीं मिलेगा तो. You have to look at the food production, na? That is also important. And when you talk about the developed country, you have to see that you have your own thing, not that apple Australia से आ रहा है और mango New Zealand से आ रहा है. पैसा तो होगा, and पानी शायद tomorrow will have to purchase water from China, because Himalaya तो अभी उन्हीं के कब्जे में है सब. So that is what the glacier will be, they will melting and sell the water. So सब कुछ होगा लेकिन पानी नहीं मिलेगा. So we have to look at across the development and sustainability, not one. India is a country where all resources we have got. So we should look at that sustainability point of view where we have. And when you look at it, food sustainability is the most important, and that too quality food is very important. So I have a suggestion, and suggestion is whether you like or not, but I hope this will be taken as a recommendation of this conference, because sustainable development we are talking about it. Let us bring out the legislation in the parliament. Let us bring out the legislation in the parliament that as it is, agriculture land cannot be converted for non-agriculture, because it should be agriculture only. So that NA should not be permitted. Because tomorrow घर building है, उसकी agriculture land नहीं होगा. Similarly, it should not be NA only. It should not be only NA conversion, non-agriculture conversion, NA. It should be NAA. Please note it. It should be NAA, non-agriculture and non-aquaculture. Then only it should be converted for the real estate. Otherwise, it should not be. And there has to be a legislation in the parliament. Then only it will be possible. Thank you very much, Atul Kumar sir, Rankham sir, and Khan sir for giving the opportunity. I hope I have sent my message across you. If there is any question, I'll be very happy if you have time to address it. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. If any questions from audience, you may ask to Honorable Professor Bhavan Ingole, sir.
Chat box.
Or you can put your questions on chat box also.
I'm just looking at chat box. There are some this thing, but I don't think there is any question. Most of there are good morning and yeah.
Anyway, if no questions right now, you can ask later on, or you can put your questions on chat box also. So I can convey this message to Professor Baban Ingole, sir.
Otherwise, my email also is there. Probably, I don't know whether
Yes,
on the
I will share.
yeah,
Share to audience.
and you can please share it. I'll be very happy to respond if and when possible.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you, sir, for your spent valuable time for us, for a new researcher also, and for us also, regarding this innovation talk. Your talk on innovation in the life sciences, and you focus on the sustainable development in the futures. And in your talk, I just put some points that you talk on the healthy food, nutritional food, with protein food, and also you talk about the thrust area of research area for a newly researcher who come and take this opportunity. Also, you focus on the whatever the seafood is there. Innovation practices in the aquaculture, which include in the marine and the freshwater. Also, to bring focus on the local hatcheries, that is very much important for us, for a new student, for student, and for researcher also, and farmers also. Also, you focus on the fish seed production, and also providing the market to young researcher and the farmers about the aquaculture to fulfill the protein deficiency for ourselves. Also, the effort of the young mind to put their effort in the future aquaculture and the agriculture field, as a fishery play an important role for the sustainable development, and it's go along with the agriculture. But as sir told that we have less, that means resources available, so that save the resources also, it is very much important. And lastly, sir told that sir discuss about the NAA. So this is the what we said, we people bring this from this conference, that is the NAA. We talk only about NA, that everybody talk about the NA only, that is a non-agriculture, and whatever the builders and all peoples which having the including is, so that sir tell this is a bring, and this put the legislation in the what was the MLC, that land is converted to NA, not NA, but the NNA, that is a non-agriculture and the aquaculture also. So this is a very much message give by the Professor Baban Ingole sir. We are very fortunate to listen you, sir, because as I was a student of Millennium College, and from the student, I am happy to listen you, sir. And thank you very much for your valuable suggestions, for your talk about the innovation in the life sciences, especially aquaculture, for sustainable development. In the inaugural talk, you put all effort about the new research area, and gives the message to new young ones, new budding scientists, regarding the sustainable developments. I thank you on the behalf of convener, on the behalf of our college under MOU. Thank you, Professor Dr. Baban Ingole sir, for valuable talk on the innovation in the life sciences for sustainable development.
Sir, I think so. Yes. I have forgotten one thing as a most important component, that at the end I have to declare that the conference is open. I think so, that is required. Yes, and even if it is online, it should be mention it. So I herewith declare as the conference is open for the public. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, sir, for your for your valuable talk and share your view on the aquaculture. And with the permission of the chair, I declare, and the chief guest, I declare this conference is open. And now we put forth the another session, that is a plenary session first. On this plenary session first, we have the scientist, associate professor, Dr. Meghanand Joshi sir, who is the associate professor, Department of Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicines, D.Y. Patil, Dean University, Kolhapur, and the plenary session first chair the session by Principal Dr. Rajdar Temkar sir, Principal Dada Patil Razade, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar. I request Dr. R.J. Temkar sir to chair the session and give your valuable time to us about sir. And I request Rankham sir to introduce today's guest, that is Dr. Meghanand Joshi sir. Dr. Rankham sir. I think he's not here. Okay, I introduce the Meghanand Joshi. Yes. Meghanand Joshi sir did PhD from Department of Zoology, Shivaji University, Kolhapur in 2006. He joined Kolosnica Institute, Sweden as a postdoctoral fellow in 2007-2008 for fetal and adult hepatocyte transplantation studies. He worked for adult and hepatotransplantation study. He worked for Sagelgans University Hospital, Department of Transplantation Surgery, Gothenburg, Sweden from 2008 to 2010. In 2009, he was awarded with TTS New Key Opinion Leader, Sweden. He has been appointed as a visiting assistant professor by Kansas Medical Center, USA, since 2010 till 2012. He was a part of first tissue engineer tracheal transplant in Geska University Hospital, Sweden. He has worked as the lab director in STEM One Biological Private Limited from 2011 to 12. Presently, he is working as associate professor, Department of Stem Cell and Regenerative Medicine, D.Y. Patil University, Kolhapur, and he has 2 ongoing projects in his lab and 6 PhD students working under his guidance. He is CMD of a Stem Plus Cryopreservation Private Limited, FDA approved core blood bank of Sangli, Maharashtra. He is BOS member Zoology, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. His area of research are stem cell transplants, tissue engineering, and 3D bioprinting. He has published more than 42 papers, 4 book chapters, and 1 granted Indian patent and 6 filed patent. So I welcome Dr. Meghanand Joshi sir. This is a brief about the Meghanand Joshi sir. I request Dr. Meghanand Joshi sir to talk on stem cell and regenerative medicine for human welfare. I welcome you sir and request to talk on this topic for plenary session first. With the permission of the chair, Dr. Rajdar Temkar, sir. Dr. Meghanan Joshi, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank organizing committee for organizing such a wonderful event. Also, I would like to thank Ingole sir for enlightening us related to sustainable development. I'm a proud zoologist, and I think we are the best candidate to justify this welfare. Today, I'm going to talk about stem cells and regenerative medicine, how it is useful for human welfare, and at the same time, I'm going to discuss about the recent advancement in tissue engineering and bioprinting. So I think mostly I'll talk in English, but I will try to mix Marathi in between so that students will be more comfortable.
Yes.
I think I will also tell something related to my department, that is Department of Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicine. This is something very important for new students who are going to complete their BSc, and I think that stem cells and regenerative course can be also a career advancement course for the students. So I think that I must tell those students that this is also one of the newer kind of coursework which will help you to advance your career prospects. Of course, we are the very few departments all over India where MSc stem cells and regenerative medicine has been conducted. So majority of the coursework is related to stem cells, tissue engineering, 3D printing, clinical applications of stem cells, and laboratory part, how the stem cells are derived, cultured, and maintained. So this is how I'm if any students are interested to know more about it, please visit to our website, or you could contact me directly. So let's start today for the lecture that we are going to discuss about stem cells. So while stem cell research is important, of course, most important aspect of stem cell research is related to developmental biology, because all humans or animals, they are started their life from single cell, then they start to divide, they get differentiated, and more cells get recruited, and they again become specialized to form organs, and those connected with each other. I'm really sorry, administrator. I'm getting constantly some kind of noise and something request. So please, if you could avoid that.
Yes.
So stem cell study allow us to study developmental biology, and this developmental biology could help us to elucidate the mechanism behind the disease development. So this is very important. Importantly, whenever you have stem cells, they are able to replace the diseased or damaged tissues so that you have a healthy life. And most important thing related to different drugs or chemicals, that is the present status. If you have discovered any kind of a new chemical or drug molecule, you need to undergo testing for preclinical and clinical settings. And this could be replaced by stem cells. That means we will be able to test different drugs, chemicals on stem cells and identify how they behave in vivo. And importantly, it's easier for us to understand the genetic machinery behind any kind of diseases or tissue development. So this is all the aspects are very important and could be addressed doing stem cell research. So when we are defining stem cells, so there are unique characteristics of stem cells because stem cells, when they divide, they renew themselves. So this is the important characteristics. For example, here, if you could see stem cell, when divided, it gives rise to differentiated cells. That means that depend on the type of tissue where the stem cell is there, and then once the stem cell in the tissue divides, it gives rise to specialized cell. At the same time, it keep her stemness intact. So whenever in future this stem cell again need to divide, this able to carry out that function. So whenever a stem cell divide, it again form a undifferentiated cell. This is very important. So it keeps the stemness of the cells, and at the same time it will be able to divide into specialized cells depending upon the need of the tissue. So there are three important functions of stem cells that make them unique. First thing is the plasticity. Plasticity is the potential to change into other cell types, that is like nerve cells or hepatocytes or islets. So that is the capacity of stem cells to become the other cell type. Homing, that is, it should be able to travel to the site of injury or damaged part so that the damage can be recovered. And at the same time, engraftment, that is able to unite with the tissue. That means if there is a damage in any part of the body, the stem cell able to travel to the site of injury, and at the same time it should unite with that tissue, and regeneration should be happen. So whenever we are defining stem cells, the stem cells are defined through the potency of the cells. Potency in simple word is capacity. So capacity of stem cells. So they are being divided according to the potency. So the highest potency is defined as totipotency, that is found in fertilized egg. So once the egg is fertilized, for a very brief time, these cells express the characteristic of totipotency. Totipotency is been also defined once a totipotent cell is isolated, this totipotent cell able to form a complete embryo. So this is how you define the totipotency. So once cells start to divide or they start to become aged, the totipotency is being replaced by pluripotency. Now, the pluripotent cells can be found in inner mass of blastocyst, embryonic stem cells, or now a recent discovery of induced pluripotent cells. They can be also considered as a pluripotent stem cells. So pluripotent stem cells have ability to differentiate into 3 germ layers. So these cells, a single cell can be differentiated into ectoderm or endoderm or mesoderm. So this is the capacity. Now, once the age pass, that means cells start keep on dividing, and then the pluripotent stem cells, they converted into multipotent cells. So multipotent cells, they have ability to differentiate into single germline. For example, mesodermal, that mesenchymal stem cells, they able to differentiate into adipogenic or chondrogenic or osteogenic cells. So these multipotent cells can be easily found in cord blood cells, cord blood stem cells, or bone marrow cells. Now, as the age pass, multipotent cells they with the time they become unipotent because those cells become more and more specialized, and these unipotent cells they are present in tissues where they are able to differentiate into tissue specific cells, or a single line differentiation can happen. So these are the classifications of potency of stem cells, and there are different sources of stem cells that are also important. And uh, at the top, you could say that embryonic stem cells, then you have a fetal stem cells, and then you have adult stem cells. So as a part of adult cells, you have umbilical cord blood, umbilical cord tissue, placenta, brain, olfactory or nasal passage, bone marrow, adipose tissue, interstitial lining, skin, surface of eye, muscles, peripheral blood, or urine. So these are the sources of different cells. So if you are going to look as a source and potency, I have divided this in three parts. First, like origin, you have embryonic stem cell, you have fetal stem cells, and you have adult stem cells. So now we are going to discuss a little bit about the potency related it. So embryonic stem cell, you could isolate totipotent cells, but the age of the cells is only 1 to 3 days. So after that, these cells become pluripotent. That means the fetal stem cells, majority of the time, they are hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. You're
Okay.
audible, sir.
Oh. So this you have two triangles which are organized here to tell the potency of the cells and at the same time developmental stages. So you have the highest potency of embryonic stem cells, and which get lost during with the age, and at the at the adult stage you have the lowest potency, but the cells are more developed. That means with age cell they become differentiated, and instead of proliferation they start to acquire more quality about the functionality of the cell. So cells become more and more specialized once they are added, and with age the cells become more metabolically and functionally active than the development. So what, sir, can you make this administrative?
Yes, sir. I will do. Joshi sir.
Yes,
Uh,
that is the same problem I'm telling that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But this is the audience who has joined the conference. That's why this pop-up message is there. But we
Yeah,
will
but
try, sir. We will try, sir.
but
Yes. Yes.
I tell administrator to remove it from here, na?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So because once you do something, it get mute.
Yes, sir. I will do, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the application part is more important for stem cells, and they are, of course, cell therapy, that is use of stem cells for treating different diseases. And as I already told you, that it is very important that it can be used for research in vitro or in vivo, kind of understanding how genes and they function, and of course for the new drugs to study. So, in order to conclude regarding this, that one has to tell that there is no single cell that fits all application, and we must do research so that the application of different type of stem cells can be into clinical reality. So a little bit about a basic characteristic, how you are going to define stem cells. That is very important because as a basic or a research part, one has to understand that you have to define stem cells, and that is possible by detecting the receptors which are present on the cell. In simple words, you could call them the cluster of differentiation or CD markers to define the different type of stem cells, and we will be able to identify different stem cells by immunohistochemistry, immunocytochemistry, or flow cytometry, and able to identify the different population of stem cells. I'm going to show you how it is been classified. As a simple example, these are two photographs. These are the hepatocytes, and they once, if you look at those cells, majority of the time they both are look same, because until and unless you stain them or identify them, you will not be able to differentiate between the normal and stem cells. So you should use different tools to identify the stem cells. So these are, in simple words, that can be also called as a phenotyping of stem cells. Phenotyping means expression of different CD markers on cells. So ideally defining epithelial cells. Epithelial cells express CD34, CD133, or CD90 markers. Mesenchymal, of course, you have CD271, CD19, CD29, CD44, and endothelial cells, CD31, VGFR2, type 2, CD44. So these are the different CD markers by which you could able to identify the specific population of stem cells in the cell culture. So this is a simple way of defining or classifying stem cell population. For example, this is mesenchymal stem cell characterization using different antibodies, and this flow cytometry analysis able to identify the different expression of different CD markers in the mixed population of cells. So, for example, we have in this flow cytometer, we have gated these many cells, and these cells expresses these many different markers. For example, this population is positive for CD44. It is negative for CD34. Administrator, please mute all participants. So there is also a technique called immunocytochemistry, where you able to visualize different stem cells as different stem cell markers, and you will be able to see actually how the cells look like. For example, here these are the hepatocytes. So we have stained these hepatocytes for albumin because hepatocytes express a lot of albumin. So these green fluorescent confirms that they express albumin. Now these are fetal hepatocytes, so they express alpha-fetoprotein. At the same time, this is CMET is hepatocyte growth factor receptor. So expression of this confirms that these are hepatocytes. The cells do not express CD271. That means there are no mesenchymal cells. So this is how you characterize the different cells using antibodies and how you could visualize these cells. So coming back again related to embryonic cells, let's discuss a little bit about how stem cells are into clinical side. So embryonic stem cells, of course, as it name, it comes from embryo. You need to sacrifice the embryo in order to get these cells. It has a lot of religious and ethical concern related to getting embryonic stem cells. And importantly, whenever people culture those embryonic stem cells, they found that they are very unstable. So at this stage, whenever we are talking about embryonic stem cells, we are discussing about the pluripotent stem cells, and pluripotent stem cells are not very stable. So till date, there are no commercial stem cell operation anywhere in the world treat patients with embryonic stem cells. So of course, in America, there are 2-3 clinical trials related to using embryonic stem cell for spinal cord injury. And this is how they identify that embryonic stem cells are not very stable and they able to form the teratoma. So that, for example, a patient treated for spinal cord injury using embryonic stem cells has found that even though his spinal cord injury has been recovered, but after a few years, this patient started to form a teratoma. So then majority of the clinical trials related to embryonic stem cells have been stopped. So there are not much product available which actually come into clinical trial related to embryonic stem cells. Of course, in India, embryonic stem cell research is very restricted. So most of the embryonic research are restricted in India. Fetal stem cells are very popular source because you able to isolate good number of cells. Of course, the getting fetal stem cells is also has ethical issues, but the situation in Europe or America where unwanted pregnancies one can abort, and we will be able to get those cells for the research. And we found that we have there are a lot of advantages using fetal stem cells. First thing is the availability, because you could get a lot of cells out of fetal cell from the fetuses. Proliferation capacity and plasticity is also good. These cells are low immunogenic. They don't have any tendency to form teratoma. That means they are safe. And so one of the important characteristic is they able to tolerate the cryopreservation. That means you will be able to test, you will be able to screen the fetal cells and cryopreserve for the later use. So this is how the fetal stem cells application become more and more popular in countries like Europe and America. So let's discuss a little bit about our my own work related to identification or characterization of adult cells and fetal stem cells. This intentionally I put it because one has to understand how the potency of stem cell get lost during the development, and once the developed organ is there, the capacity of differentiation is very high at the same time. So there is a comparison between the fetal cells and adult cells for different markers. For example, this is alpha fetoprotein and hepatocyte marker. Alpha fetoprotein is expressed on fetal cells, and hepatocyte marker is expressed on adult hepatocytes. So if you could see this fetal cells, there are very few hepatocyte markers expression because they are highly proliferative cells and fetal origin. And in the other way, in adult liver, you don't find much alpha fetoprotein because there are very few cells which are as a stem cell, but it has a highest hepatocyte marker. Same related to CMET, that is hepatocyte growth factor receptor and adult hepatocyte marker. This also look the same way. So you have highest expression of CMET at fetal level, and adult level adult liver you don't find much CMET. When it comes to functionality, hepatocytes are well known to synthesize albumin. And when we check for albumin and hepatocyte marker, there is very few fetal hepatocytes express albumin. But at the same time, adult hepatocytes have plenty of albumin expression. So this is how we can identify that during the development, cells become more and more specialized. Little bit about the proliferation between the adult and fetal liver. If you could see, we have done VRDU staining, and one can identify there are a lot of proliferating cells in the fetal liver. And at the same time, in adult liver, there are very few cells. So this again tells that with age, cell lost their potency, but they become more and more specialized. Now, the use, we are talking a lot about pluripotent cell these days because they are more potent to able to differentiate between different germ lines. That means a single pluripotent cells, you will be able to treat multiple different type of diseases with a single cell. Now, as we have already discussed, that pluripotent cells are not stable. So a discovery of Yamanaka, which lead to production of pluripotent cells with the help of a simple somatic cell. And he got a Nobel Prize for the same discovery, where he has taken a simple somatic cell from skin biopsy, and then he produced induced pluripotent cells using different genes which are responsible for pluripotency. There are CMYC, OCT4, SOX2, and KLF4. These are the genes responsible for pluripotency. And once you introduce these genes to the somatic cells, cells become pluripotent cells. So the entire idea for generating induced pluripotent cells is to develop something customized treatment. That means you have a patient, you take the patient biopsy, then prepare induced pluripotent cells for this patient so that the cells become autologous, and then these cells can be transplanted to the patient, and then he will get relieved from his disease condition. So this is the entire idea for generating induced pluripotent stem cells. Of course, nowadays umbilical cord blood banking is well aware in India, and these are the I should say the age of umbilical cord blood is just 9 months, because they are at the top of adult stem cells, and people now know that these stem cells have a huge potential to differentiate into different types. At the same time, this could be an alternative for bone marrow. In simple way, once the baby is born, the placenta and cord tissue considered as a surgical waste, because there are generally surgeons, they don't use it, and that these are being thrown in the dustbin bag. So in 80s, the people started to understand that there is some kind of blood which might be a therapeutic use, and thus in the Europe in 80s, people started to collect cord blood from the placenta, and they have defined that it has a rich source of stem cells, for which could be used for as an alternative to bone marrow. Then there are a lot of developments related to umbilical cord blood, and now in India, umbilical cord blood banking is also considered as a stem cell source. So there are a lot of umbilical cord blood bank where parents able to preserve the umbilical cord blood, and that can be used to treat the any diseases which may have to the baby, because these are the autologous cells of the baby. So there are other sources such as umbilical cord derived MSCs. You have huge number of these cells present, and one can isolate through umbilical cord or placenta. Thus, the good part of these cells is the age, and these cells have age of 9 months. So let's go forward. Let's discuss a little bit about bone marrow derived stem cells. So majority of the time, whenever clinicians are talking about stem cell transplant, people use bone marrow derived stem cells, and these cells are hematopoietic stem cells. At the same time, they have mesenchymal stem cells. So bone marrow can be derived from any adult, and that can be used to isolate specific stem cells related to the disease, and that can be transplanted to the patient. So this is how the autologous stem cell therapy can be done. Of course, the fat depot also, this is a large number of mesenchymal stem cells, which can be isolated in ample amount. So if you have adipocytes or adipose tissue, you will be able to isolate endothelial cells, you will be able to isolate mesenchymal stem cells, and these cells can be used to treat different diseases. Of course, peripheral blood, one able to peripheral blood can also generate stem cells. So this is the procedure is called apheresis, where patient is being activated with the help of GM-CSF, that is granulocyte macrophage colony stimulating factor. The injection results in activation of bone marrow, and all stem cells, they come into periphery, and with the help of apheresis machine, those stem cells can be isolated, and rest the blood again enters into the patient. So this is also a non-invasive way of getting stem cells from the body. Of course, we are doing a lot of research on different aspects of stem cells, because we are doing research how adult stem cells can be isolated, and we have developed a method by which 24 hours urine you will be able to isolate cells, and that can be used for therapeutic purpose. For example, one able to use these stem cell for bladder or urethra tissue. So these cells are getting more popular because it is very easy to isolate the cells from the urine. Now, considering the regenerative medicine, we have seen that we have first part, we have seen the potency of stem cells and the functionality of stem cells. Then we have discussed a little bit about the getting of stem cells, their sources of stem cells. Now, in brief, I'm going to discuss about regenerative medicine, which is how it has been used to treat the humans. In simple word, regenerative medicine is a process of creating living functional tissue or repair or replace the tissue or organ function which is lost due to age, disease, damage, or congenital defect. So this is the definition. And it helps to produce the extended healthy longevity. So this is how you could define the regenerative medicine. So these are the different application of stem cells. Of course, bone marrow can be used. Then you have stem cells for different bone diseases. You have stem cells for tendon and ligament injuries. You have stem cells for cartilage repair. You have stem cells for heart. You have stem cells for gene delivery. So all those applications make stem cells more popular, and it is now becoming a clinical reality. Of course, it started with treating leukemia, that is bone cancer, and it has been found that leukemia can be managed through chemotherapy, where chemotherapy what they does is they isolate the stem cells from the patient. They give chemotherapy. Due to chemotherapy, majority of the cells which are causing cancer, they die, and again doctors reintroduce the bone marrow to the patient. Thus the patient is cancer free. A simple example of cancer cure is Lisa Ray, where she undergo hematopoietic transplant, and she is completely normal person now without any cancer. Of course, stem cells are used for different neurological diseases. There's majority of the time they are degenerative disorder of the central nervous system, and lack of sufficient amount of brain proteins. And the cure of this disease is to multiply the cells that release the specific neurological condition. So you could define neurological disease as cerebral palsy or autism, Alzheimer, Parkinson's. So these are a common way of defining the neurodegenerative diseases. Of course, spinal cord injury has its own thing, because majority of the time spinal cord injury is for very young individuals, and it is a life-limiting experience for those patients. And many times adult stem cells, which can be ideally used to treat spinal cord injury. We also have similar kind of work related to stem cell transplant for cerebral palsy, which is available online. Anyone could find it on Google Scholar. If you are interested to read, please see this case report, which we have published in 2012. This is related to treatment of cerebral palsy using autologous stem cells. Of course, one of the diabetes is one of the important aspects in India, because our majority population is affected either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. So considering the morbidity related to diabetes, clinicians think that stem cell could actually help diabetic patients. Now, whenever it comes to type 1 diabetes, which is more related to autoimmunity, that immunological complications, and stem cell transfer for type 1 diabetic patients, they have seen very promising.
Participant request to do not share your screen. Thank you. Participant, unmute your mute your mobile.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you hear about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But your voice is not.
I think that I have some issues with the internet, so I stopped
Okay.
my video. I stopped
Okay.
my video.
Okay, sir.
So I think I have discussed. Did all hear about diabetes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah, okay. So the next line will be for the heart diseases. So there is an approved product which can be which can use for different heart condition. For example, Versacell, which is a marketable product, stem cell product, and patients suffering from coronary artery diseases or cardiomyopathy or congestive heart failure, these patients actually are being treated using the stem cells, and there are very promising results of this product. Of course, whenever we are discussing about stem cells, you should be able to tell the limitations also, because it's, as a science, one has to check about positive and negative. So we have discussed a lot about the promises. There are also some limitations related to adult stem cells, because first thing is isolation of patient cells is a limiting factor, because many times a patient who has the disease, getting the stem cells from those patients is really difficult. So isolation of cells is a biggest problem. A patient who has a genetic disorder is also a limitation, because if a patient has a genetic disorder, you cannot take autologous stem cells, because the genetic defect also present in the stem cells. And most important thing is, these adult stem cells are very difficult to maintain in the cell culture. So there are some of these limitations which are present, but you have a allogenic cell source which can be used once you face any kind of limitation related to. Now I'm going to discuss a little bit about the advancement in the field related to tissue engineering, and I will discuss a little bit about generation of functional kidney in the lab. So this is some of the I'm going to give you a few of the examples how we have engineered a functional kidney. So this is how a tissue engineering process is there. This is a kidney. This is a goat kidney, where we remove the entire cellular content of this kidney using different detergents, and this process is called decellularization. And at the end of decellularization, you get an inert kidney which has only extracellular matrix, and all the cells, DNA, proteins are being washed off. So in simple words, this kidney look like this. It only has a vasculature and inert extracellular matrix. This is just to tell you that during the process of decellularization, DNA content is entirely washed, and this decellularized kidney does not have any cellular contents. So what we did was we did a xenotransplant. That means a part of a kidney piece is been transplanted on the kidney capsule of rat, and we waited for 1 month to understand how the graft which is placed able to adapt with the rat kidney. So what we found that after 30 days, the scaffold which we implanted on the kidney got vascularized, because there are a lot of vasculature around this transplanted piece, and we have checked this transplanted piece for histology. Of course, one has to understand that MRI imaging just to understand whether they have a functional kidney, and we have found that there are both kidneys are functional. So what we did was we have did the histology part of this transplanted scaffold, and we found that there are glomeruli, proximal and distal tubules, which are started to appear, and we have confirmed with different staining, for example, eosin hematoxylin, Mason's trichome, AB staining, and trypan blue. This is just to identify that if you have a good graft, you are able to engineer an entire kidney. This is just to understand the functionality of this kidney. So there are very specific kidney-specific proteins which are expressed during the development. So if these are something like AQP1, then nephrin, nephrin is present on the nephron. So we have identified the expression of nephrin to the implanted scaffold. That means this implanted scaffolds is able to recruit the cells from the rat. And even though you did xenotransplant is transplanting any organ other than that thing. For example, you might have heard regarding the transplant of pig kidney to the human. So this is same way. That is, we are also developing something like a xeno organs for human use. So this is scanning electron microscope imaging to identify the ultrastructural changes in the kidney, and we have found a lot of cells, glomeruli assembly in the implanted scaffold. So this just to identify that there are rat-specific cells which have started to develop entire new kidney. So this is how we have identified engineering technique for kidney. Now I will tell a little bit about bioprinting, and this will be my last part of talk. So bioprinting is nothing but a 3D printing that is additive manufacturing process that creates three-dimensional object from three-dimensional digital format. It is printing a single printer which print three-dimensional objects. So these three-dimensional objects can be any mold sliced, and they are being print on. They are print like slices. I'll show you how it is been done. So the 3D printing technology presently we utilize is FDM technology, where you have a cartridge material which liquefies through the nozzle, and slice by slice you get the printed object. So 3D printing application is very popular in humans to print models or prototypes, which will be easier for medical students to understand the anatomy. Now, 3D printing can be also as a medical practice. I'm going to show you some of the recent advancement. And the custom, presently they are utilized as a custom hearing aids or braces. They can be also replaced as a body parts, including ear shapes or even organs. And in February 12, surgeons successfully implanted the entire titanium jaw made from 3D printing in an elderly woman. So here, for example, if you could see this guy had a terrible accident on the face, and this entirely has a 3D printed face. Here it is how it has been done. So if the surgeon's able to match the entire part of it, because you have the possibility of making it in the entire 3D structure. So they have fabricated the entire jaw structure for this patient, and they have used it. So it will be exactly like the patient face, and the customization is so perfect that the quality of life for the patient is extremely well. So we also doing similar kind of work in our lab, where we have developed our own 3D printer, and our application is of course biological. And in this part, I'm going to show a little bit about the bone printing. And you define bone is a rigid structure of the body. It is a protective for all the vital organs, and injury to the bone, or injury to the bone, that is trauma, fracture, or degeneration, leads to abnormality. And many of the compromised bone structure cannot be replaced because there are no alternative presently. So we are working in the same direction, and we have developed a bioink for 3D printing. For example, here, if you could see, we will be able to generate bone structure using 3D printing technology, where the bone ink is specially made up for the bone. And once the printed structure is been uh, is been cured, you will be able to use this as a solid structure for as a bone thing. For example, here, if you could see the scanning electron microscopy structure, the porosity is maintained, the bone structure is very promising. And of course, one we identify as a chick model, which is a very simple model to check the biocompatibility, and we have seen the biocompatibility. And even though we are utilizing xenogenic material to engineer it, this biocompatibility experiments were very successful. Cells infiltrated in the bone tissue, and maybe they have utilized this bone. So this is just to tell that this bone is very biocompatible. For instance, you could see RBCs present on the bone. So to conclude, in the present, I think the stem cells, tissue engineering, 3D bioprinting applications, research is advancing very rapidly. The era will come where these products will be actual part of treatment. Today's medicine generally tries to support or treat injuries, tissues and organs, but stem cells may replace them. So there will be complete cure. Many clinical applications are very promising results, and hope those clinical trials will come up as a product. New stem cell banking technologies could be revolutionary in regenerative medicine, and that will serve as a source of stem cells for different applications. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Sir, Thank you, sir, for your one wonderful talk and very interesting that area of the research in the life sciences also. And for us, for many researcher, this is a what upcoming thrust area in the research and in futures also for the sustainable development. From the audience, if any questions related to this, you can ask now, or you can put your questions on chat box, so I can convey these questions to Dr. Joshi sir. Yes, from audience. Yes, Pandit sir. Yes, sir. You can talk. You just unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just wait.
You,
Okay. Good afternoon, all of you.
good afternoon, sir.
It's a pleasure to me to ask a question for you in this national level. This question for Joshi sir. Sir, with the help of the stem cell, can they confirm or regenerate the animals again with the help of the stem cells? Yeah, at place of making some of the part of the body.
Yeah. Generally, what tissue engineering does, you could actually engineer something for patient using his own stem cells.
Second thing is here, sir. When you transplant the heart or sometime or the kidney or say the liver, what is possible to regenerate again in our bodies?
Many times, allogenic transplants, one has to in constant medication such as immunosuppressive drugs, and see any organ which is alive as a normal part, it regenerates constantly because you are consuming the energy through every organ. So if as a normal situation, there is daily wear and tear happens, and due to stem cell present in the organ keeps its normal functioning. So whenever you have a normal organ, stem cells always function in a proper way.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good
Myself,
afternoon.
Dr. Yeah, myself, Dr.
Thank
Tani,
you,
sir. Sir, I just one question regarding the 3D printing. What type or which material used to utilize for the 3D printing for making the tissue, and that material is whether how it is associated with.
I'm really sorry, your voice is breaking.
Yes, your voice is breaking.
Sir, yeah, hello. Sir,
Yeah.
what type or which material used for the 3D printing for the making the tissue? And does that material is suitable, or the how it is compatibility with actual or real tissue, sir?
See, my lab is working on developing extracellular matrix for each organ. That means, for example, here if I have shown my work in bone printing. So here, if you want to engineer bone, our material is again bone. That means we use bone tissue, and then extracellular matrix from bone we isolate it. And once we isolate this extracellular matrix, we polymerize with different polymers such as PVA, PEG, and then make it in the ink form. Once you print it, see this, the entire key aspect in the 3D printing here is we have a inert material. Even though we are using bone tissue, cellularity or immunogenicity of this bone, we have already removed it. So this is how we prepare the bioink.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. Any question? Okay.
तुम्हाला तुम्ही सगळ्या कॉलेजच्या आहे ना, माझं इन्व्हिटेशन आहे की तुम्ही whenever you are coming near Kolhapur, you should take your students to my lab, where they will be able to see different these kind of techniques in the lab, because see, many times our students they don't get much exposure. So whenever you people want to visit us, I will be able to plan something for your students, where I will be able to demonstrate something, our research. So it will be encouraging for your students.
Yes, definitely, sir.
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can chat the yes, Vaibhav Joshi. You can ask.
हॅलो, नमस्कार जोशी सर आणि चोर पगार सर, नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
हा, मी ओळखलं का मला?
येस सर, बोला सर.
2006 बॅच आपण बरोबर होतो. मी इथं जीवन विकास महाविद्यालय शूरला आहे.
येस, काही क्वेश्चन असेल तर विचारा सर.
हो, क्वेश्चन काही नाही, सरांचीच क्वेश्चन आहे. सर, आपण डेली लाईफ मध्ये स्टेम सेलचा जो यूज केला जातो, तर त्यामध्ये आपण जे विशिष्ट ऑर्गन आहे, तर ते आपण लॅब मध्ये का मेडिसिनल फील्ड मध्ये आपण करू शकतो का? लॅब मध्ये सुद्धा आपल्याला त्याबद्दल संशोधन करता येईल? हॅलो, हा जोशी सर, आवाज येतोय?
माझ्या लॅब मध्ये हे जे आर्टिफिशियल ऑर्गन्स तयार करायचे, माझ्या लॅब मध्ये आर्टिफिशियल ऑर्गन तयार करायचा रिसर्च होतो.
अच्छा. म्हणजे त्या पूर्ण वेल सेटअप आपली लॅब आहे.
येस, माझा पूर्ण रिसर्च हा ऑर्गन डेव्हलपमेंट आणि ह्याच्यावरच आहे. आणि आपली स्टेम सेल ऍप्लिकेशन, स्टेम सेल हे एक टूल म्हणून वापरतो, पण ऍप्लिकेशन्स ही डायव्हर्स असल्या कारणाने वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या गोष्टी आम्ही इथं करतो. वी वर्क ऑन कार्टिलेज, वी वर्क ऑन स्किन, वी वर्क ऑन ब्लड वेसल्स. So there are a lot of different areas which I work. So
yes sir, thank you Vaibhav Joshi sir. Yes, yes, any questions you can put your question in chat box.
Atul sir.
Yes,
just follow the program, sir.
Yes. I thank you Dr. Meghnath Joshi sir, that you put your effort to understand the new era of the research of the stem cells, their classifications, sources, their markers, immunocytochemistry of the cell, then embryonic stem cells, commercial stem cell operation practices, hepatic markers, healthy cells, that is iPSC, induced transplantation of the genetically matched healthy cells, umbilical cord cells, peripheral blood cells. You talk on this. Then you talk on regenerative medicine, that is the application of the stem cells in the futures, that is the bone, bone marrow, genes, these are pharmaceuticals industries, then treating the leukemia, caring of the cancer, neurological diseases, spinal cord injury, cerebral palsy. Then another there is a limitations also. So you also talk on the limitations of the adult stem cells. Then you talk about the tissue engineering applications. Show the also you show the 3D bioprinting technology and medical processes. Then 3D printing of the bones, and you show the video also, which is very much interesting to see all of us. And this, and also you invite us for visit your laboratory. We all very eagerly and plan to visit your laboratory, which is very much interesting, and to see the new techniques in the life sciences, which is important for the sustainable development in the futures also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I request today's plenary session chairperson, Principal Dr. Rajdar Temkar sir, Principal Dada Patil Razade Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar, Taluka Pathurdi, District Ahmednagar, to give a session remark. Dr. Rajdar Temkar sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir, good afternoon to all of you. So before speaking, I would like to clear one thing. Our principal, Dr. Temkar sir, he had to go outside the college because of an urgent work. So he handed over the charge to me, and I am going to speak on his behalf, on behalf of the principal, Dr. Rajdar Temkar sir. So first of all, I am thankful to Honorable Sri Jaydatt Sirsagar alias Anna, Secretary, Adarsh Shikshan Sanstha Bid, and our President, Sri Appasaheb Radale Patil alias Kaka, President, Dada Patil Radale Shikshan Sanstha Adinath Nagar, Honorable Sri Parameshwar Kadam Sir, President, Hanuman Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Sonpet, for encouraging us to organize the one-day national conference on innovation in basic sciences and sustainable development. I am also thankful to our Secretary, Honorable Pawar Sahib, MLA Honorable Monikate Razade, Trustee of our college, Rahul Razade, and College Development Committee Chairman, Mr. Shivajarao Razade, for guiding us to develop the scientific environment for students of rural background in colleges like Pathurdi. As our founder chairperson, late Sri Dada Patil Razade alias Bhau, said that the education for weaker section of the society, especially the girl child, and this is our motto. So we forward this message and act last 27 years till date and future too. So I would like to extend my sense of gratitude to inaugurator of this conference, Professor Dr. Baban Ingole, Senior Scientist, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Goa, India, for sharing his views on innovations in basic sciences and its importance for human life. Then, as we know that in this pandemic, COVID-19, we face the problems like medical field, but our scientists and researchers, they are overcoming this situation by innovating the various medicines, vaccines. This is because of the research in basic sciences. Then I am thankful to Meghnad Joshi, Associate Professor, Department of Stem Cell, D.Y. Patil Deemed University, Kolhapur, for a nice work on generative medicine and stem cells. He was mainly focused on importance of stem cells and in its importance in upcoming years for mankind, and also understanding the new era of research for students in basic sciences. Thank you, sir. And I also welcome to next speaker, Dr. Dhanaji Zawle, to share his view to us. I would like to welcome and thank to all the delegates, participants, those are present on the screen and off the screen for the national event. I am happy for your kind response, as I see that near about more than 100 participants were present as students and as attendee. So it's my duty to congratulate my good friend, Principal Dr. S.K. Tupe and Principal Dr. V.D. Satpute for his support for this event to organize under MOU between Department of Zoology of late Ramesh Warpudkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbhani, affiliated to Swami Ramananda Tirthi Marathoda University, Nanded, Department of Zoology, Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirur, Kasar, District Bid, affiliated to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathoda University, Aurangabad, and Department of Zoology, Dada Patil Radale Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinath Nagar, Taluka Pathardi, District Ahmednagar, affiliated to Savitribai Phule Pune University, Maharashtra State. And I hope in the future this MOU will actively conduct and organize scientific events, workshops for the students, farmers to exchange the ideas of international platform also. So I am sure that we will have fruitful and rewarding exchanges in this conference. I wish you every success and I look forward to learn outcome of the conference. It is my duty to congratulate conveners and heads of the departments of zoology, Dr. T.S. Pathan from Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirur, District Bid, Dr. Santosh Rankham from late Ramesh Warpudkar College, and our Dr. Atul Cholpagar of Department of Zoology, Dada Patil Radale Arts, Commerce and Science College. Then I sincerely hope you will enjoy our network in the future. So I am thankful to all of you for your participation and kind cooperation. And I am also thankful to all of you for giving me to provide an opportunity to express myself. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Noel, Dr. Janardhan Noel, sir. Head Department of Botany, Dada Patil Razade Arts, Science and College, Adinath Nagar. On behalf of Principal, sir, you give the brief about the plenary session first. I thank you to all. Thank you, sir. Now, with request, the chairperson of this session is over, and we go to next session, that is plenary session second. Plenary session second, that we have the guest, the speaker, that is Dr. Dhanaji Vasantrao Zavade, who is a postdoctoral scientist, University of Paris, Saclay, France. I welcome you, sir, Dr. Dhanaji Vasantrao Zavade, who is talk on carbon nanotube metal nanohybrids and polyexometallics for sustainable development and its application for organic transformation. I just briefly introduce the today's invitee talk in the plenary session second, and also I request Principal Dr. V.D. Satpute, sir, Principal late Ramesh Warpudkar Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbhani, to chair the session. Principal Dr. V.D. Satpute, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Please repeat, sir.
Yes, sir. I request Principal Dr. V.D. Satpute, sir, to chair the session second.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I request you to start, if you permit it, I will start the session.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Continue.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So in plenary session second, we have Dr. Dhanaji Vasantrao Zavade, who is a postdoctoral scientist, University of Paris, France. Since 2019 till date, he was working on carbon nanotubes, polyoxalometalates, nanohybrids for low carbon energy. He was also working a postdoctoral fellow from 2013 to 15 in CEA Paris, Cyclic France, and IIT Powai, India, under the guidance of Doris and Professor Gavels. Then he did his PhD in 2011, Department of Chemistry, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, under the guidance of Professor Ramrao Mane sir, in convenient synthesis of existing and new anti-diabetes agents. He has industrial experience, research and development, Unichem Laboratory, Goa, India, process development of active pharmaceutical ingredients. He has teaching experience in the assistant professor from 2015 to 2019 in the National College of Bandra, Mumbai, University of Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. He has published a research paper. He has published 37 research publication in various national and international reputed journal with impact more than 10 impact factor. He has submitted 1 submitted and 3 under preparation of Indian patent. He has awarded Make Our Planet Great Agent Postdoctoral Fellowship, France, in 2019. Indo-French Center for the Promotion of Advanced Research, a postdoctoral fellow on 2013. UGC Research Fellowship in Science for Meritorious Student, India, during this PhD 2007 and 2011. Then he was received the Eclave Meritorious Fellowship in the MSc 2006 and 7. So this is the this is the brief introduction about the Dr. Dhanaji Vasantrao Zavle, and I request him to present his view about this talk. Thank you. Yes, sir. Your voice is not. You are not audible, sir. Zavdi sir, you are not audible. No, you are not audible, sir. You just check your connection, so that will be better. No, you are not audible till. Check your connection, sir.
Sir, if possible, leave the meeting first and then join.
Okay. Zavdi sir, you just leave the meeting and rejoin the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Hello, is Zawli sir is here? Yeah.
Now, is it audible? No.
Yes, sir. Yes, you're audible, sir. Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me to share my research experience. I'm very much grateful to all the members of convener and organizing committee. And thank you for the nice introduction by Atul sir. So, can I share my screen?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can.
Wait a moment. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. You visible screen. Yes, sir. You can start, sir. Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon to all. So today I will represent my work performed during my research journeys, and I awarded by the prestigious postdoc fellowship sponsored by President of France, Emmanuel Macron, under the scheme Make Our Planet Great Again. And I would like to present my research work. And the milestone of today's presentation, it is divided into two parts, and it is going to approach to meet the criteria for the sustainable development. So first part, it is based for the hydrogen energy. So how the CNT-based polyoxometallic nanohybrid are useful for the generation of hydrogen from the water molecule. And second part, it is for the CNT-based catalyst, how it is useful for the various organic transformation, and how that various organic transformations are going to meet for the sustainable development. I will present one by one. So I will start with first. For all the human being, energy is very important. The main source of energy, it is from the sun. Sun is the source. And we have alternative energy resources. That alternative energy resources are like petrol, diesel, kerosene, as well as the gas. So for all these energy resources are rich with the carbon and have the more emission of the carbon dioxide when we used, because as the number of population is increases as well as the industries are growing, they have demand of the existing energy resources. So more the use of the fossil fuel like the oil, coal and gas, there will be the more emission of the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So emission of more carbon dioxide to the emission had adverse effect on the environment, and greenhouse raised the question how to minimize the emission of the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So to minimize the emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, there should be the low carbon energy resources. So hydrogen energy is the best, and the hydrogen energy the best source, it is from the water molecule. And because in water, there are rich with 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, and we will get the hydrogen, and oxygen is the byproduct, so 0 carbon emission. So scientists are focusing how to break oxygen hydrogen bond, and they are using different types of the catalyst, as well as they are using the platinum. Platinum is the best, but the cost of platinum is not affordable, so it is not economically acceptable. So considering this all view in mind, we chosen the tungsten nickel based polyoxometallic because they are the reservoir of the electrons, and we chosen here CNT as the best support to stabilize the higher oxidation states of the polyoxometallic. And why we chosen the carbon nanotube as the support to deposit these active phases, I will explain in short. First, we'll see what are the carbon nanotubes. These carbon nanotubes are the allotropes of the sp2 hybridized carbon atom. If they are folded with single time, then they are the single wall carbon nanotubes. If they are folded with multiple times, then they are the multi-wall carbon nanotubes. These CNT are associated with the different types of the characteristic features. They have the best stability towards the chemical, thermal, and mechanical, and they are inner during the progress of the reaction as well as the electrochemical path. One of the important characteristic feature of this multi-wall carbon nanotubes has ability to stabilize the higher oxidation state of the metal. So considering this view in mind, we chosen multi-wall carbon nanotube, kept in the aqueous solution, and added the surfactant. It forms the micelle, and the micelle adsorb on the surface of the CNT in such a style, the hydrophobic part adsorb on the surface of the CNT by van der Waals forces, and the hydrophilic part pointed towards the aqueous phase. So they are with the hydrophobic tail and polar head. The surfactant we used here, diacetylene nitrotriacetic acid. It has this acetylene group, and this is the polar head. To make the stability of these nanorings more robust, we took the advantage of this polymerized unit, and we subjected for UV polymerization at 254 nanometer. It underwent for 1/4 topochemical addition to form the robust nanorings. Now this layer it is reached with the negatively ion, and next step it was the addition of positively charged polydienyl dimethyl ammonium chloride, and this multilayer now is ready to deposit different types of the active bases. So for the sustainable development, to produce the hydrogen from the water molecule, we used here POM, that is polyoxometallic, and we added on this surface. So by the electrostatic interactions, it adds up on the surface of the multilayer, and this is 2 proton 2 electron system by using this newly discovered catalyst, and by following the electrochemical path, it generates the hydrogen, and by using the hydrogen, we can generate the energy. So we use the different types of the POMs on the surface of the multilayer. We deposited like a Davson type of the POM. Here, the tungsten, it is surrounded like this one with phosphorus. Here, tungsten with 1 nickel. This POM without nickel, this one POM with 1 nickel, and second type is the sandwich type, like 2 pineapple sandwiched to the nickel. This is the nickel. This is like 2 pineapples. They are helping to sandwich the nickel center. So this is the sandwich type of the POM. It is with POM with 2 nickel, and this POM with 4 nickel. So we used these 4 different types of the POM: POM without nickel, POM with 1 nickel, POM with 2 nickel, and POM with 4 nickel to deposit on the surface of the multilayer. So POM with 2 nickel has this d orbital, it is vacant. The current carriers are the tungsten. Nickel are helpful to stabilize the oxidation state of the tungsten. So we deposited on the surface of the CNT we characterize all different types of the POM, but I will represent it, the characterization of one of the POM, like POM with 2 nickel. So from this high angle angular dark field method, we're able to see how this POM is deposited on the surface of the CNT by homogeneously, and there is no any pre POM into its chemical environment, as well as by using the energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy, we observe that there is presence of nickel, tungsten, oxygen on the surface of the CNT. So this data cleared that the POM present on the surface of the CNT. Then we measured its oxidation state by using X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy, and we observed nickel 2 and tungsten with 6 oxidation state present on the surface of the CNT. Once that characterization was over, we measured its metal content by using ICP-MS, and that data once in our hand, next step it was for evolution of the hydrogen from the water molecule. So to show it is useful or not, we took the benefit of cyclic voltagram, that is cyclic voltammetry, and it gives the clear understanding in between voltage and current. So for that purpose, we used here working electrode glassy carbon, counter electrode platinum, reference electrode saturated calamine electrode, and the aqueous system we used, that is water, that is sulfuric acid. This is the aqueous solution, and we perform 2 studies, like pre-POM without deposited, POM deposited on the surface of the CNT. When we kept POM without deposited, that is POM with 1 nickel in the solution, we recorded the cyclic voltagram A. When POM we kept on the surface of the CNT, that is deposited POM, the voltagram is B. So from A, it is clear that when this is the oxidation and reduction type of the peak, during this progress of the reaction, there is the evolution of the electron, and that electron is directly proportional to how much current is getting. That is the idea behind of this. So once we used it for first time, that is the black line. When we used the same POM in the solution for the second run, by applying the potential 100 millivolt per second, the current is decreased here. It means that when POM present in the solution, there is the evolution of the nickel from its center. Like from W17 nickel, the 1 nickel is evolution when POM present without support. And when POM deposited on the surface of the CNT, when you use a successive time like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, then there is no any change into its morphology, no any evolution of the nickel. So it means that carbon nanotubes are very useful to stabilize the higher oxidation state of the POM, and they are inertness during the progress of the electrocatalytic path, and they are efficient for giving the electrochemical responses. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Wait a moment. I think the screen is not going up. Why it is not going up forward? Wait a moment. I think the screen is not going forward. The slides are not moving.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Why it is not going?
You just stop the screen sharing.
Okay.
Share it again.
Okay. Sorry for disturbance. So then again we perform the cyclic voltagram of the different types of the POM, like POM with 2 nickel, POM with 4 nickel, and POM without nickel. And we did separately study when it is in solution and when on the surface of the CNT. And we observe same pattern of the redox step, and peak potential remains same. That is oxidation and reduction process is remains same when it is solution and when on the surface of the CNT. But there is difference in the peak current because number of electrons exchanged in each step are different. So more the number of electron, more will be the current. And another thing is that when the peak current, it was directly proportional to the square root of the scan rate. It means that the POM present in the solution, we observe the same thing. And when it is directly proportional to the scan rate, then it means the POM present on the surface of the CNT. Again, it is stopped, I think so. Hello, are you audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Request.
Again, screen is some again.
You just put your screen on presentation mode only.
Okay.
So that's why is the problem here.
Okay.
Sir, make PowerPoint presentation. You are selecting the slides.
You go with the presentation mode, sir.
Presentation. Yes.
No, but if you'll make large, then next slide is not coming. I don't know.
Again, you have to just click, sir.
Okay, I will click on slideshow.
Yes.
So depending on this cyclic voltagram data, we took the help of the TAFL plot. So TAFL plot gives the clear understanding of the current. So there are a lot of calculation. I will not go in detail how it is calculated. And this is the list how the current is formed when we use a POM without nickel. If you increase the nickel center, the current is increasing. But in case if you see the comparison in between POM with 2 nickel and POM with 4 nickel, the POM with 4 nickel has the less current as compared to the POM with 2 nickel, because as we discussed before, if you see the structure of POM with 2 nickel, the nickel it is sandwiched in between 2 pineapple, and the d orbital it is vacant. in case of the POM with 2 nickel, and that d orbital is useful to stabilize the oxidation state of the tungstens. Tungstens are the charge carrier, they are the carrier of the currents. And in case of the POM with 4 nickel, the nickel is sandwiched in between two pineapples like of the POM, and the d orbital, it is not vacant, so no any stabilization of the electron of the tungsten to the nickel. So that would be the reason the POM with 4 nickel has the less current as compared to the POM with 2 nickel, and this gives the understanding how the hydrogen is generated from the water molecule and how the current is producing. Now I will explain the synthesis of the Noel CNT based catalyst and how it is useful for the different types of the organic transformations, and by reusing and recycling, this heterogeneous catalyst is gaining more importance in the industry, because reuse and recycle is very important to make the system more economical, favorable. So we prepared this platinum nanoparticle by using the reduction method of the ethylene glycol, and we deposited this colloidal solution of the platinum on the surface of the multilayer. We prepared this carbon nanotube platinum nanohybrids, and we characterized by using TEM, that is a transmission electron microscopy. It is clear that that is homogeneous and dense covering of this platinum on the surface of the CNT, and it has diameter like a 2 nanometer. No any freestanding platinum nanoparticles into its chemical environment, and this gives the understanding how platinum is deposited on the surface of the CNT. To see its oxidation state, we performed SPS, and we got the idea about there is major contribution of platinum 0 on the surface of the CNT, as well as we measure how much platinum is present into that particular catalyst, and we recorded by using ICP-MS, and the platinum content, it was 4.0 millimolar. Once this data in our hand, to check its applicability, we chosen the hydrosilation type of the reaction is very important to form the carbon silicon bond formation. And we screened this catalyst by using different sources of the platinum, like platinum on charcoal, platinum tetrachloride, colloidal solution of platinum nanoparticle, as well as we used a blankly coated CNT. In all cases, this was not efficient to perform the carbon silicon bond formation. As we used our newly discovered platinum CNT catalyst by taking very less amount, 0.04 mole% under solvent precondition in presence of air as atmosphere at room temperature, it worked very efficiently for getting product like 98%. So this system found more efficient, and under this optimized condition, we are able to prepare the library of hydrosylated compounds. At the beginning, we took different types of the silane, like triethoxysilane, benzyl dimethylsilane, phenyl dimethylsilane, this chloro, and triethyl sterically hindered silane, and it worked very efficiently on hexene, like one alkene parameter we kept constant, and under this optimized condition, we got product with excellent yield. Then we evaluated the system by keeping silane partner constant, by changing this alkene bearing sensitive functional group like acid, alcohol, keto, epoxy, this sterically hindered ester, and it was found that it worked very efficiently without altering it into its sensitive functional group. Then we evaluated this system on different types of the alkenes, and we got alkene with E-geometry, selective product formation with excellent yield, as well as different types of the styrene compound being methoxy, boranic acid type of the styrene worked very efficiently. Then to see the scope of this reaction on structurally challenged alkene as well as alkyne, we choose this alkene from the quinolide, this L-caron, this bisilane, as well as ethylestrone from the cholesterol family. So If you see in the product, there is no any alteration into its complex structure as well as the functional group. It worked very efficiently. To make system more economical favorable, we perform the reuse and recycling reaction by choosing this model reaction. And it was observed that after 6 cycles, we isolated the catalyst, and again we saw its TEM and XPS analysis, and it was found that it has same pattern as like of the fresh PTCNT. As well as the catalyst is needed for this particular transformation or not, we performed catalyst filtration experiment. The actual time to complete this reaction is 24 hours. So we started the reaction by choosing this model reaction. After 3 hours, we filtered the catalyst and we recorded its yield like 14% conversion recorded by NMR. And after that, catalyst was filtered and it ran for 24 hours. So only 14% of conversion occurred. It means that the catalyst is needed for this particular type of transformation. As well as in the isolated product, we saw is there any metal content is present or not, like platinum, is there is leaching of platinum or not, because for the drug, any drug, as per their criteria, as per their pharmacopoeia, it has mandatory to see the metal is present or not. So for that purpose, we perform the ICP-MS analysis for the product. So we found 0 metal content, so no leaching. To prove the mechanistic study for this particular type of the transformation, we perform the kinetic experiment in between deuterated phenyl dimethylsilane and non-deuterated phenyl dimethylsilane by keeping hexene as the same partner. We perform the reaction, we measured its kinetics, and from this kinetics, we got the KH upon KD is equal to 3.7. So this value suggests that SID or SIH bond dissociation is the slow step and is the rate determining step. Keeping this view in mind, we postulated the mechanism. It involved into the 4 steps. In the first step, the oxidative addition of silicon deuterium to the platinum. In second, the olefinic complex formation with the platinum, chelating type of the complex. In the third, addition of this carbon of the olefinic to the platinum. And at the final stage, the reductive elimination. Again, this platinum is regenerated. The cycle is going to repeated. So during this progress of the reaction, we recorded 3AB dash type of the compound, and here is the deposition of deuterium is observed by using the NMR, as well as we observed this kind of intermediate formed during the progress of the reaction. So from this, it is clear that mechanism is involved during this by following this 4 cycle. So summary of this particular organic transformation is that the platinum, we used a catalyst here, it active at room temperature, reaction performed at in presence of air as the atmosphere, as well as less amount of the catalyst required, and we prepared the library of hydrosylated compound. Next, I will explain in short how we prepared the gold carbon nanotube gold nanohybrids. So we prepared the gold nanoparticles in colloidal form from the salt of the chloroorganic acid and triphenylphosphine oxychloride as a stabilizer, and freshly prepared gold nanoparticle kept on the previously explained multilayer. Once the deposition was over, we recorded this image as well as ICP-MS and SPS. So once all this data in our hand, again we tested its applicability. We chosen the oxidation reaction of dihydroxybenzene to 1,4-benzoquinone by using very less amount of this AuCNT 0.1 mole% in biphasic condition. So we performed different, we obtained different types of the benzoquinone type of the compound, as well as for this structurally hindered phenol, we observed CC bond formation type of the reaction, as well as we tested different types of the catalyst like gold nanoparticle, salt office, but they are not efficient. So by using AuCNT, that is newly discovered catalyst, is able to perform this particular type of the transformation. Recycling worked excellently. So this 1,2-diphenol from the one like a catch-a-call type of the compound or 1,2-diphenol type of the compounds, we are getting here hydroquinone. So they act as a co-catalyst in the bioinspired oxidation. So we took this compound for the next steps. For that purpose, we again designed the new support, that is organic nanotubes. So we took the danta, that is in twisted form at the beginning. As the UV polymerization occurs, it forms the danta helix like this one. So it formed the helix here. As we again perform its UV polymerization, it formed the organic nanotubes. And finally, we absorb the gold nanoparticle on its surface. It is under the same strategy like layer by layer deposition. Also, we characterize by using TEM, everything, ICP-MS, XP-MS. So, to check the applicability of gold organic nanotube, we chosen the conversion of amine to imine, like amine to imine. Normally, to form the imine, we require the carbonyl carbon. It should couple with the amine, but in our case, without carbonyl carbon, as we found here imine. So we used here co-catalyst, that is trihydroxyacetophenone. As already I described this biphenol or triphenol, they are useful for the bioinspired type of the process. So oxidation performed by using this gold organic nanotubes, we form this quinone type of the compound. Then the nucleophilic addition of this nitrogen on the carbonyl carbon, we form this intermediate, and it again aromatized to give the intermediate C. Then nucleophilic addition of this amine to this carbon, it forms the intermediate D. Again reductive elimination, it forms the imine. Again this co-catalyst is regenerated, it follows the same path. Then we prepare different types of the imine. These all are the symmetric imines. They are with the good, moderate to excellent yield. In case of the steric hindrance, it has the less yield. As well as we prepare some unsymmetrical amines, like if you take different 2 amines, then there is the competition in between symmetrical amine as well as the unsymmetrical. So unsymmetrical, in our case, it found more. Also, we clean the catalyst in same style, as well as to make the system more economical, favorable. We perform its cycling experiment, and that was the complete statement for the formation of amine to imine. Next, I will explain in short how we prepare ruthenium CNT. We prepared ruthenium nanoparticle by using ethylene glycol reduction method, and as soon as this colloidal solution formed, it was added on the surface of the CNT. On the surface of the CNT, it was well characterized by using TEM, and we found that there is homogeneous and dense covering of this nanoparticle on its surface. It has average diameter like 2 nanometer. So we used this carbon nanotube ruthenium nanohybrid for reduction type of the reaction, and for this reduction type of the reaction, we chosen hydrazine hydrate as a reducing source, because this hydrazine hydrate, it undergo decomposition on its surface, it produces hydrogen as well as the nitrogen. So same hydrogen, it is useful for the reduction of nitro to amine. When we perform the reaction in water, we are getting amine. When we took the same substrate in THF by in different solvent, then we are getting the hydroxyl amine. So that is the beauty of this reaction as well as the catalyst. And we prepared a library of amine as well as the hydroxyl amine. And one thing I would like to notice here, it is a very selective. If there is the sensitive functional group like alkyne as well as the alkene, it not underwent for the reduction type of the reaction. We perform again recycling, because recycling is very important. If you use the same catalyst for the 10, 15 or 15 or 100 times, then it will affect to reduce the cost of any intermediate. I will explain in next slide, in coming slide. As well as we prepare the carbon nanotube palladium nanohybrids, and we characterize by using same technique, and it observed that 2 nanometer size of the palladium nanoparticles. And we choose here Suzuki coupling is one of the important tool to couple carbon-carbon bond formation, and to couple two different types of the molecule. So we used here ethanol and water as the greener reaction media, and we used a very less amount of the catalyst, like 1 to 2 mole%. And we prepared different types of the compound. The one thing we noticed here, if you see the kinetics, if you change the substituent on the aryl halide from iodo, chloro, iodo, bromo, and chloro, we found that if you use the chloro compound, it took more time as compared to bromo and iodo because of the bond dissociation, and it will take more time to insert the palladium into PDX bond. And this system also worked very efficiently on sp3 hybridized carbon atom, because for the Suzuki coupling, as in the literature, reported literature, as well as to its name reaction, they used it for sp2 hybridized carbon atom. This is sp2. So using our protocol, we used this strategy on this sp3 hybridized carbon atom. So it worked very efficiently. We perform reuse and recycling, as well as we screened by using different types of the catalyst, and we found that PDCNT is more efficient as compared to rest one. As well as we prepare rhodium CNT, that is carbon nanotube rhodium nanohybrids, and we prepared this rhodium nanoparticle by using ethylene glycol reduction method by taking the pre-salt of rhodium chloride, and freshly prepared colloidal rhodium nanoparticle we deposited on its surface, and we performed its temp. It seems excellent. We measured its XPS, ICP-MS. Then we used this rhodium CNT for the dehydrogenation type of the reaction. So we used this phenol as a co-catalyst, as a bio-inspired catalyst. So by using this rhodium CNT, we observed here quinone, and it underwent this cycle. Finally, we are getting the dehydration type of the compound. For example, by conversion of this tetrahydroquinoline to quinoline, because after treatment with this catalyst by using co-catalyst, it will give here this quinoline in 10 hours 95% yield. So as previously I explained, we focused only on the monometallic. Now we are more focusing on the bimetallic. So we prepare rhodium and ruthenium bimetallic nanoparticle, and we deposited on the multi-layer by layer assembly approach, and we deposited the rhodium and ruthenium nanoparticle on its surface. It was characterized by using TEM and HAADF image. So it seems that there is homogeneous and dense covering, as well as from EDS mapping, it is clear that there is deposition of rhodium and ruthenium on its surface. So to see the applicability of this catalyst, one of the interesting thing, the screening of catalyst we observed here, when you use the colloidal rhodium ruthenium, no conversion. When you use the alone only rhodium CNT, it found 37. When we used ruthenium CNT, we found 55. And when we did combination of rhodium CNT plus ruthenium CNT, we observed 69%. But when we used rhodium ruthenium bimetallic on one surface, it is giving 96%. So that is the beauty of this bimetallic catalyst. And we prepare different types of hydrothiolated compounds, like longer aliphatic alkene, nor boron type of the compounds. Styrene derivative worked very efficiently, as well as we changed here thiol source, like perpurulated thiolone, different types of the thiol we took, by keeping styrene as the same parameter under this optimized condition by using very less amount of rhodium ruthenium catalyst like 0.04 mole%, by using ethanol as a greener solvent in open flask in presence of air. It worked very efficiently. As well as we perform on different types of the alkene. We got alkenes with selective nature, and on structurally challenged alkyne also underwent for this under this optimized condition for getting this alkene with E isomer selectively. Again, to see the mechanistic path, we took the benefit of the labeling experiment. So we prepared the deuterated phenyl acetylene as well as deuterated this deuterated compound, thiolated compound, performed reaction. In both cases, we observed there is incorporation of deuterium. It means that the rhodium plays here dual role. That is, the reaction is going by rhodium hydrogen insertion as well as rhodium sulfur insertion. From this labeling experiment, it gives the confirmation how the mechanism is going on. And as I perform different types of the reaction, because of the time, I couldn't explain all, but a little bit I will explain in short here. This is the Wacker oxidation, and we perform by using palladium. This is the N formulation. We perform by using gold, as well as the removal of the N oxide. We perform by using gold. So such kind of the beautiful transformation we perform our Noel discovered catalyst, and it has the best turnover number and turnover frequency, as well as they are whatever the product getting, they are moderate to excellent yield. They are heterogeneous, so we can easily reuse and recycle. One important thing, all reactions are carrying at room temperature. So how this nanoparticle, it is useful for the industry purpose, we also proved. So for from all the certain family, they are responsible as anti-depressant drug like losartan, olmesartan. They are the anti-depressant drug. To prepare this losartan or olmesartan or other certain family drugs, the very important intermediate is OTBN. This is biphenyl type of the compound. So in the patent and as well as their reported protocol in the industry, they are using palladium on carbon. So use of palladium carbon, they are using like 10 mole%. If cost of palladium had made more contribution to increase its cost, and they are very challenging to reuse and recycle. So what we did, we prepared the palladium nanoparticles and deposited on your system, and we performed this transformation. It worked very excellently. We performed up to 1 kilogram batch and obtained the purity of intermediate like 99.50%. That is very important for the pharmacopoeia of the drug, because they should have more pure, because it has direct application on the human being. So once we used this palladium nanoparticle, it had made more contribution, and ultimately we calculated the cost of drug olmesartan. So it reduced like 40% from $644 per kg to $416 per kg. So from this, just it is an example. I would like to tell how the knowledge is useful to reduce the money and how to earn the money also, because if you prepare some big challenging molecule also, by using our knowledge, we'll get money. Also, it is useful for the societal need. So this is one of the kind of the applicability. So finally, this POM CNT hybrid catalyst, they are very efficient for the hydrogen generation, and this POM CNT catalysts are stable. They can reuse and recycle for several times. If the POM CNT catalyst we reuse and recycle for the several times, hydrogen evolution is more. And if you applicable for the real life, so hydrogen is useful for the energy. That study is going on in our laboratory. As well as we perform different types of the organic transformations that are all are heterogeneous, so they can reuse and recycle. As I explained before, one example how reuse and recycling has matter to change the cost of any chemical intermediate as well as the drug. The first time we reported in our lab this rhodium ruthenium bimetallic type of the nanohybrid, and how they are overcoming on the monometallic. So such kind of the work is going on, and already some work is performed. And again it stopped. Can I stop again screen, because it got same problem, it is not moving.
Okay, sir. Okay. This is, yeah.
So I'm very grateful to my supervisor. He's a director, Eric Doris sir. He's a director of our nanoscience department. He helped during supervision as well as fruitful discussion. I'm very grateful for the Edmund Gravel. He is also co-scientist. He actually involved our team. I grateful to Dr. Israel. He's helpful for the electrochemical study, because the work it was in collaboration. So the electrochemical part we did with Dr. Israel sir lab. And this is our head, that is Frederick. He is providing such a beautiful facility. And finally, thank you for your attention.
Yes, so request to stop your presentation. Remove your screen. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Dhanaji Zavale sir. It's a good talk to you, and your topic on the carbon nanotubes, which your talk on the catalyst supporting characterization of the nanotubes, of the hybrids, hydrolyzation and recovery and the reuse. Use also one article is published on Times of India, Aurangabad edition, from you, that your research is going on and use in the petrochemicals. And I congratulate and proud of you, as I associate with you. Also, you talk this Rudil's nanoparticles, which is used in the pharma industry, which is antidepressant drugs also. So these nanoparticles and your discovery is used in medical field, and also in the petrochemicals or the pharma industry also in the futures and upcoming days, which is helpful for the sustainable development. Thank you and congratulations for your present work and in future works also, and all the best for your future works also. Thank you. I request now the session chairperson, Principal Dr. V.D. Satpute sir, Principal late Ramesh Varpudkar, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbhani, to give session remark. Before that, with the permission of the chair, I request all the audience. I put feedback link on the chat box, so you just fill the feedback link. This is my request, and request Principal Dr. V.D. Satpute sir to give the session remark. Is over to you,
okay, sir. Thank you, Atul.
Yeah, thank you.
For driving the session since last 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
Very good afternoon to one and all. In fact, this virtual activity is an outcome of the memorandum of understanding between these 3 colleges. At the very outset, I appreciate the efforts taken by the departments of zoology of these 3 colleges and the respective conveners, Dr. T.S. Patan, Dr. Atul Chorpagar, and Dr. Eswaran Kam sir. They have taken painstaking efforts to organize this activity in a joint venture. Of course, this is the second activity. I also appreciate the helping hands of my principal colleagues, Dr. Tupe sir and Principal Tenkar sir, for extending their cooperation in the organization of this activity. I must mention that the managing committee or the directors or the president and secretaries of these Kalika Devi college, Dada Patil Rajle college and my college, later Ramesh Orpurkar, they are very liberal in extending their support for the organization of such activities. This year we are celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, as well as we are celebrating this International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development. On behalf of all the three colleges, I welcome Dr. Zavle sir and thank him for accepting our invitation for attending this session. Sir, let me truly confess that since I do not belong to science discipline, let me confess that I am not the authority to pass on any comments on the presentation made by you. I am just here to appreciate you and just to compliment you. As far as your topic that carbon nanotube and metal nanohybrids, poly metals for sustainable development and its applications for organic transformations are just concerned. It appealed just very impressively. Today, we know that very existence of human beings is under threat due to various crises. No doubt that sustainable development will make the human existence easier. I'm really impressed by the intellectual talk of Mr. Zavle sir, since we have such a wonderful personality and the person we could have for this session. I'm mostly impressed by his lucidity and simplicity of his talk, not only appeal to the participants from science discipline, but also to the participants like me who belong to the humanities and other such disciplines, other persons. Sir, NEP 2020 of course stresses on the multidisciplinary approach, and therefore students and faculty must keep the intra and interdisciplinary approach while comprehending one's own subject. So I must not say that I belong to the humanities and I have nothing to do with the sciences, etc. Yes, we have to do we have to work in cooperation with each other, and therefore the intra and interdisciplinary approach is a very important one. So sustainable development cannot remain limited to only one discipline, that is the science discipline. It is the concern of all of us. It is the time to change our approach to development also. No doubt that natural resources must be used with great care so that the generations to come will be able to use it for themselves also. Innovations in the field of basic sciences are no doubt contributing a great deal in sustainable development. As Mr. Zavle sir has pointed out that the depletion of energy resources posing a great threat before us, and therefore the things like carbon nanotube as can be the best option for use in the further in future is just concerned. So Atul sir, this is what I would like to comment. Whatever sir just presented. Once again, I am very thankful to the Zavle sir for coming over here and enlightening us as far as this new innovation or the new topic is just concerned. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Your kind word is pleased to us, and in futures also.
Yeah.
Also, now with the permission of the chair, this session is declared. All participants requested to fill a feedback form to get a certificate of this conference, and also request all of you before the concluding, just with the permission of this chair, I just give a vote of thanks to all of you. But before that, you just start your cameras so that we just snap it one photograph. Request all of you to start the camera. Yes. Yes. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Just with the permission of the chair, I give a vote of thanks to all of you. Firstly, I declare that with the permission of the chair that this one-day national conference on the innovations in basic sciences for sustainable development is tributed to all the researcher, medical staff, all the frontline worker who were unrested in this pandemic for the research to overcome this COVID-19 pandemic. So this conference I attribute to all the researcher. Also remembers late Professor Y.K. Khillare sir, late Professor P.C. Joshi sir, late Professor Dr. Mokashe sir for this scientific gathering. Firstly, I thankful to the inaugurator and chief guest of this conference, Professor Bhavani Ingole sir, who is visiting scientist and professor of hydrothermal studies, National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, who share his view on this particular topic and gives one remark, that is we should go for not for NA but NAA. This is the concluding remark by the Professor Bhavan Ingole sir. I request the speaker, Dr. Meghanand Ganesh Joshi sir, who is Associate Professor, Department of Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicine, D.Y. Patil, Dean University, Kolhapur, was talk on the stem cell and regenerative medicine for the human, which is helpful and very interesting subject. And he was talk very simple language. I thankful sir. And also the chairperson of this session, Dr. Rajdhari Temkar sir, Principal Dr. Dadapati Razade Arts, Science and Commerce College, Adinat Nagar, Taluka Patradi, District Ahmednagar, to chair this plenary session first. Also, I thankful to Dr. Dhanaji Vasantrao Zavade, who is a postdoc scientist, University of Paris, Saclay, France, who was talk on carbon nanotubes, metal nanohybrids, polyoxylometalates for sustainable development and its application for organic transformations, which also interesting subject and is valuable for the budding scientist. And also thankful to the session chairperson, Dr. V.D. Satpute sir, Principal late Ramesh Varpudkar, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonpet, District Parbhani, who chaired the session and give the valuable remark about the session and the conference. And also I am thankful to Principal Dr. S.K. Tupe sir, Principal Kalika Devi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Shirur Kasar District Bid, who is the chair the session of the inaugural session. Thankful. I am thankful. Thanks to sir. I am thankful to all the participant who is participated last 3.5 hours, and also because of you, this conference is not successfully going. So that I thankful to all participant. Also I thankful to Honorable Sri Jaydat Anna Shirsagar, Secretary, Adarsh Shikshan Sanstha, Bid, Honorable Sri Appasaheb Razade, President Dadapati Razade Shikshan Sanstha, Adinath Nagar, and Honorable Sri Parmeshwar Kadam, President Hanuman Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Sonpet, for encourage us for organizing the one-day national conference on innovation in the basic sciences for sustainable development. I am also thankful to our Secretary, Honorable Mr. J.R. Pawar, MLA Honorable Monica Tai Razade, Trustee Rahul Razade, College Development Committee Chairperson Mr. Shivaji Rao Razade for guide us. Also, I am thankful to Dr. T.S. Patan sir, Dr. S.V. Rankham sir, and all staff member of this college for binding us to this MOU. Also, as the principals of the three colleges who gives us the energy to gather this scientific gathering, and in futures also, I request you all to give your precious time and words. With the permission of the chair, I declare that this conference is over. I am thankful to all of you and request to fill the feedback form. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Atul.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a safe life.
Thank you,
Nice.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
Nice conversion. Nice people, nice platform. Thanks, Atul.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.